It's the KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS.
The KQ Morning Show. It is February the 14th, and last I checked, that's Valentine's Day. Happy Valentine's Day to all my favorite people. Well, the three of you anyway.
Thank you so much.
Does everyone feel, is there a glow? Do you feel a little extra warmth inside? Come on, Zep. You probably couldn't even sleep. You felt so charmed and loved. Okay, Tony, how you feeling? Are you feeling loved? Candace, how you feeling?
I love that. I already got a Valentine.
Really?
Yep, my roommate left me a bag of chocolates and a card.
Roommate Valentine.
Man, that is so
Does
sweet.
that count? Your roommate?
And it said the card was signed from Gigi too.
So it was more like a galentine than a Valentine.
That's true.
You're making a farce out of this sacred holiday. Dogs and roommates and
Come on.
That's nice.
Well, we've got a wonderful, a really, truly lovely local story about Valentine's Day, and I was about to lead the show off with that, but then I'm just seeing now two men in central Minnesota are facing charges because they had a 3-pound box of meth that authorities intercepted. So, I mean, I just thought we'd go there instead, just to set the tone.
Isn't that nice? Mailed to a trailer park in the middle of Minnesota. Yeah, I've never seen that coming. I like the sting, though. They sent an officer dressed as a UPS driver to the door because they intercepted it because it's 3 pounds of meth. Wow. You don't
3
even
pounds?
You don't even need a drug dog for that. I'm sure they probably, someone was like, this smells like meth. Feels like meth, Rice, Minnesota.
I think what happened was somebody touched the box and got high. 3 pounds, my God. That is an extraordinary amount of methamphetamine. But anyway, 3 pounds of meth for a Valentine's Day. I mean, what says I love you more than that? From us to you. By the way, today on the show, let's run down the set list quickly, shall we? We've got tickets to give away at about 8:20, 8:25 to see Robert Plant and Alison Krauss.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
we're gonna give away tickets. That's just how we're gonna do this. That's how we're gonna roll. We've also got a couple of great guests at 9:30. Sierra Barter in our continuing true crime series. This is a woman who's got a new show on Max. Oh, I'm sorry. Was her grandfather a serial killer? Yeah, we'll be talking with her. We've got a great comedian, Khadijah Cooper, is coming on the show at 8. We just got a lot of cool stuff today. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. All right, we're loaded for bear.
Yeah, I'd like to think we're loaded for bear. And then, of course, it is Valentine's Day. So, Candace, you're already one up on the crew. You've received a Valentine already. I'm going through my inbox. Maybe I got an email, but nothing. Not a damn thing.
Still working on your poem.
Yeah. Thanks. I appreciate that.
I put in a few things about Steve Gorman in the Chat GPT. That was yesterday. It says still working. I don't know what that means. It's really, you're going to break Chat GPT. It just can't seem to get the job done for you.
Well, then I got to get on the rebound then. If Chat GPT can't come up with a way to honor me with an ode, how about this? A Minneapolis couple. Here's a lovely Valentine's story with a local flavor. A Minneapolis couple remodeling their bathroom went into the wall. You know what they say? Don't poke holes if you don't want to know what's behind there. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like don't tear up that floor unless you're ready for what you're going to find, because you can never know. Well, check this out. A Minneapolis couple decided they're going to remodel the bathroom. They tear into the wall, and what do they find? A pair of 100-year-old love letters.
Wow.
Yeah, numerous treasures inside the wall behind the toilet. Now, there were containers for medicines, including glycerin, rose water, some razor blades, all these things from long defunct brands, like literally 100 years old. And then a pair of love letters appeared to have both been written by the same teenager to two different girls.
Oh, you scamp.
Little John B., little Twin Cities Casanova from the early 20th century, addressed to Hazel, one letter, and another to Pauline.
Okay, Hazel and Pauline. Those were the hot names in the day. This is Matt and Carrie. Their name, Tesmer. Minneapolis couple talking about these letters. They're going to read a little bit of it to us.
It's truly a mystery how any of this stuff made it into our wall. I'm like, am I reading this correctly?
Dear Pauline, I presume you think I don't love you because I did not answer your note right away. Are you going to the play?
Please tell me if you are going to the play tonight.
I hope you still love me. XXXX.
Upon reading some of them, we realized it was actually probably more likely a kid, like between the ages of 13 to 18. They were talking about, first lunch, I have study hall this period.
I'd like to thank the news station there for putting the scribbling sound effect in the background, just for effect. But yeah, there you go. So nothing's changed. Well, if he didn't answer the letter right away, then she thinks he's mad. Now we do it with texting.
Well, a couple things have changed, because if that were a couple high school kids now, it would be, hey, I didn't get back to you. I'm not mad, but seriously, topless or we're done. That would be the text. Pics or dead to me. I swear I won't put them on IG, but I need to see that bikini line. That's what would be happening now.
Of course, it would take forever to take that picture, wouldn't it? I mean, I don't know. You can't really get a selfie going with those big old box.
That's very true.
When was this? The 1930s, 20s or something?
It's almost 100 years ago.
Yeah,
Pauline, please put that strawberry phosphate just off to the right, and sit. Do you still want to go to the play? Let's go by the soda shop after. I hear Coca-Cola has real cocaine in it. Yeah, I can just see how that thing's going to go completely awry.
He's going to get someone's bloomers off. But he was double dipping. Yeah, he had another love letter to another young lady. That's not uncommon for young people. That you hedge your bets. Someone's going to take the bait.
You just reminded me that there's never a time when bloomers doesn't make me laugh. It's just there used to be all the there was a joke I remembered as a kid that I knew as a kid. I can't remember what it was, but the basic construct was all around, the first person whose bloomers you see, you have to marry them. And I always think about that. The word bloomers, it's just an endless, it just triggers some sense of not nostalgia, but just more like oh my God, how weird were we 100 years ago?
Right. I remember, now this is the old Bugs Bunny cartoons. They do like a burlesque vaudeville act in some of them. And she'd come out and lift her dress and you could see her bloomers. Yeah. It was scandalous. And I couldn't figure that out as a kid because I was growing up in the 70s. We already had swimsuit editions, We had Cheryl Tiegs, for crying out loud. There were no bloomers. It was, the swinging 70s.
There was some blooming happening, trust me.
Yeah,
but,
right, exactly. Yeah. But just to see the bloomers, still well covering the legs. That was that got the motor running back in the day.
Certainly did.
They may have found out who it was. They did a little investigating, a little crime I guess it wasn't a crime of passion, of the heart. Anyway, they may have tracked it down, but that author no longer with us.
Well, I mean that checks out, but
yeah, right.
I'm sure that author's got some family members who were mortified to think, oh my God, he was what a cad.
Yeah. What a cad. That's a great. I'm going to work that in somewhere today. Quit being a cad.
Yeah.
That's a good one. I like that one. All right. Hey, we got to get along here. Hey, you know what? It is Valentine's Day, and if you can't get out of it, get into it, I guess. Why not? I'd love to hear some great old stories about how you got together with your significant other. It doesn't even have to be your significant other anymore, but just like weird get-together stories. Like my wife, my ex-wife, rather, I should say, the mother of my two children. We met when I accidentally at a bar stumbled into the women's bathroom to barf my guts out while she was waiting next in line. I came stumbling out, having messed up the bathroom for her, and what woman wouldn't immediately fall in love with that? Let's hear them. We'll get something up on the KQ Facebook page. Weird get-together stories, 651-989-ROCK. That's our talk and text line, and hang tight.
Connect with us on the KQ talk and text line, 651-989-ROCK. That's 651-989-ROCK. 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show. AC/DC Back in Black. You know what's wrong with that song? Nothing. I'll answer the question myself. AC/DC's on the road this year. No North American tour dates announced yet. We'll keep you posted. However, Bobby Plant out of the Led Zeppelin camp, Robert Plant and Alison Krauss will be playing in the Twin Cities in a few months, and we're going to give away tickets at about 8:20. So that's kind of cool. It is Valentine's Day, and Zepp, remind me, you met a gal that you had a very significant relationship with. It was a vomiting contest. It was who could projectile vomit the furthest, and you were the two finalists. Am I getting that right, or am I wrong?
Close enough, I guess. The Last Chance Bar, the old college hangout, one of those deals, and they had the men's and the ladies' room there, just a single each right next to each other, and you might see how someone irresponsibly overserved, it was the 80s, might stumble into the wrong bathroom, and I made quite a mess of the ladies' bathroom, and I swing the door open, and there's a line, like 4 or 5 gals waiting to get into this single-use bathroom, and there's one young lady with this horrid look of disgust on her face, and I said, you know what, you're going to marry me. As a joke, and it turns out we did, in fact, marry. Yeah, she had a low bar. A very low bar. And it didn't get any higher, but I couldn't get over it. Yeah.
It's what I call a Ruthian move on your part. You truly called your shot. You stood there, you pointed over the center field fence, you vomited a little bit more, you wiped it off your face, and you said, by God, woman, someday, woman, you'll accompany me, is what you said.
It's a great American romance story.
That's the best ever.
Yeah, we didn't go the distance, but a hot start and and a couple of fine kiddos out of the deal.
Yeah, sure. Not every relationship's a marathon. There's nothing wrong with a 10K or even a sprint occasionally. Tony, you and Rachel go back a ways. I mean, and you guys, correct me if I'm wrong, you met on a flight. It crash landed, and you were the only 2 survivors. Am I getting that right?
Isn't that crazy how that works? I was just thinking, Brian, you should have bookended the relationship. The last time you ever spoke to her, you should have thrown up. The way it started.
I think it's that I never really graduated from that behavior. Finally, it was like,
could be it.
Isn't as cool and romantic as it used to be.
I met Rachel here at the Q. We were coworkers.
That's right.
We would kind of pass in the hallways, and there was a feigning interest, and we started emailing each other. We're kind of pen pals.
Well,
and we decided to get together.
That's why I was assuming there was a fiery crash. It was here at KQRS. I'm sorry. It's a figurative thing. I knew there was something regarding that sort of thing, and I like the pen pal angle. That's it's kind of like bloomers, pen pals, bloomers. It's old school.
Have we heard the Steve Gorman, Rosemary?
I believe so. The first time we ever met was in Birmingham, Alabama, where Rosemary's from. She ran the concert committee for the University of Alabama at Birmingham, UAB, and she had already graduated. She was just out of school, but then got a call, hey, we're shorthanded. Can you come work a gig we're putting on? And she went down there to this club, and she went to work the door, to handle the guest list, and to allow people not to enter or to enter. And she did that for one reason. Her boyfriend she'd just broken up with was planning to attend, and she went down there solely because she would have the authority to not let him in. Not a perfect opportunity to meet and try to flirt with a girl. That's where she was. And then I come walking in, and my band, we were the opening band on the bill that night. And we played our set, and I walked outside, and I took one look and went, oh, I am going to go talk to that woman right now. And I brought all of my 1988 charm, panache, elan, humor, great hair night happening as it turned out, a humid summer night after the gig. So I just had a lion's mane going. And she could not possibly have cared less. not possibly have cared less. And I'm giving it all I got. And I mean, this is... and I felt it too. It wasn't like I wasn't forcing it. It was just there, and I was like, man, this is like the best possible. Well, it's kind of a one-way street, but man, if I was getting anything back, this would be great. And it ended one day. I finally just had to. At some point, I just had to walk away. Like, well, that went nowhere.
You planted a seed,
and that's the end of the story. That was it. I was like, man, golly. 6 months later, I'm back in Atlanta where I lived. I'm working at my used record store, the legendary Wax and Facts, and in walks Rosemary Priola from Birmingham, Alabama. And as soon as I saw her, I went, that's that girl from Birmingham. And I walked over and did in my best, can I help you find anything? as if I had no idea who she was. And she said, no, I'm just kind of looking around. I said, all right, well, let me know. And then at some point she did have a question, and we started chatting. And I totally, 2 minutes in, I was like, hey, you look familiar to me. I mean, is there a and she said, well, I don't know. I just moved here, but you look familiar to me too. And I said, well, where did you move from? And she's like, Birmingham. And I went, you know what? I know exactly what it was. My band played a thing, and I think we talked. And she goes, "That's exactly right." And she was far friendlier. 6 months later, in a new town, more willing to accept the possibility that I might not be just a complete troglodyte.
You were a player, but you knew from the get-go exactly where you
totally knew exactly.
Yeah, I mean, it cool.
The door hadn't shut, and I went, "That's Rosemary from Birmingham." I knew exactly who she was. And
but see, she was laser focused when you first met on busting the gonads of an ex. There, that's what she was thinking about, and it wasn't a proper introduction. But and you don't think she didn't say years later, "I knew exactly who you were when you walked up. I was playing it cool." No, weren't.
I know, and I know her well enough to know that was the case. You remember the movie from that era, Vision Quest? She was on a vengeance quest.
Yeah.
Hers was a vengeance quest, and I just walked into the lion's cage at the wrong time the first time.
Yeah. Her heart was guarded. The guard was up. She was she was there to take care of some old business.
And by the way, first conversation at the record store, she goes, "Are you guys you still in your band?" And I'm like, so dismissive, because as someone who worked on the concert committee, she could care less about music. She knew musicians are just complete jokes. And I go, "Yeah, in fact, we're making a record this year." And she was like, "Oh, wow." Who isn't making a record? I'm sure it's on some tiny label. I'm sure you're gonna. She didn't say any of that, but I could see it in her face. She was just like, "Yeah, whatever." Another local loser. I was like, "Damn, man!" But of course, it just made me that much more like, "Oh, I gotta. I'm real. I'm important. Damn it."
Here's to women who settle. Thank God.
Ain't that the truth, brother?
Yeah. And I don't know if we're going to get one out of Candace, a meeting story or not. She's still playing it pretty close to the vest. She has a reputation.
She does have a reputation. You know what? I tell you what, later in the show, let's us make up Candace's meat story.
Okay.
Oh, that'll be better. That'll be better.
Chat GPT is for.
That's right. That's right.
I'd have to let them do the thinking. We do have a post up on, thank goodness, Facebook is back. We thought there for a minute Facebook might be down, and we might not have a show for you this morning. But good news, Facebook is up. Happy Love Day from the KQ Morning Show. Let's hear your weird get-together stories. Did you meet your lover in a strange way? 651-989-ROCK. We'll be getting around to that. We've got to get around to Mike Evans' Hollywood Report. Hang tight.
Connect with us on the KQ Talk and Text line. 651-989-ROCK. That's 651-989-ROCK. 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show. It is Valentine's Day. Oh, that means one thing. It's time for the Mike Evans Hollywood Report.
Hey, everybody. It's me, Mike Evans, Steve, Candace, Zap, Tony. Hope everybody's having a great special day. We will get into that special day. By the way, on this special day, you might want to take your special person to a Marcus Theater. Marcus Theater, the best theater chain in the whole state, maybe in the whole country. Marcus Theaters. And don't forget, on Tuesdays, their $6 special is a special. No doubt about it. So, as you well know, the Super Bowl was the most watched event in television history. Over 123 million viewers. You knew that. That's what happened on Sunday on television. That's the good news. Now the bad news. Sunday was the worst theater attendance ever, but guess what? Marcus Theater still had great numbers, but the rest of the country was down. Hey, on October 11th, 1975, for the first time, a bunch of no-names like Chevy Chase and John Belushi and Gilda Radner and Dan Aykroyd, well, they all got together and appeared on this brand new show on NBC, late night, called Saturday Night Live. What happened during that first show? Behind the scenes, with the cast, etc., etc. Well, back on May 2nd, 2023, Saturday Night Live 1975, the movie, was optioned to Sony Pictures. They even started pre-production on July 7th, but then the union strike, and everything was put on hold. However, It went back into pre-production January 19th. And now the cast is set. And now filming starts this spring. When I find out more behind the scenes, I'll let you know. Again, the name of the movie, Saturday Night Live, 1975. What happened that first night, first show? You know, we've been together a long, long time, decades, and while I am your Hollywood reporter, special reporter about special events, there are times that I feel I need to help you out. Some of the folks out there, I need to help you. You know, it's Valentine's Day. And if you are one of those dudes that hasn't bought your Valentine's a gift yet, let me give you a little heads up. Don't get the following. Don't get drugstore chocolates. Don't buy a teddy bear for. Coupons of any kind, forget it. Don't buy candle, generic flowers. Also, cheap, heart-shaped jewelry. That's a no-no. And definitely don't give her money. There are so many other don'ts, but I think hopefully that helps some of you procrastinators. Have a great day and a great Valentine's Day. Talk to you tomorrow. Mike Evans, see ya.
There you have the Mike Evans Hollywood Report for Valentine's Day. Yeah, by the way, we didn't mention that the Super Bowl, this was the most watched TV show ever this past Super Bowl. And I'm a guy who, about a decade ago, doing sports talk radio, I wasn't like going to die on the hill, but I was talking about the fact that the NFL's days were numbered. I was comparing it to horse racing and boxing.
Really?
Yeah, and people go, how come you don't do sports talk anymore? I don't know. That might be why. Hey, let's look back. On this day in 2002, Rulon Gardner. Remember him? Big kid from Wyoming, heavyweight wrestler. Star of the 2000 Olympic Games. He beat the big Russian who hadn't lost for 13 years. Rulon Gardner was just a monster. On this day in 2002, which is in between the 2000 Olympic Games where he won gold and the 2004 where he won bronze. In between those two sets of Olympics, he went snowmobiling with some friends in Wyoming. He was separated from the group, and he was trying to get it together, realized he was out in the middle of nowhere. Oh, and then he fell into the freezing Salt River with his snowmobile, climbed out, built a shelter, and waited to be rescued for 18 hours.
Wow.
At one point, he stopped shivering, which he knew that's hypothermia. I'm going to die soon. They did get to him in time. Severe frostbite, hypothermia. He had, he lost the middle toe on his right foot on that trip. Came back 2 years later, won bronze at the Olympics. But he was just getting started because in 2007, he and two other men survived a crash when their light aircraft went into Lake Powell, Utah. And they swam in 44-degree water for an hour to reach the shore and then spent the night without shelter.
God.
And he survived it all. Rulon Gardner, the baddest mofo in American sports history. Hey, LeBron, I'm impressed, but don't even try. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
It's the KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS. Zep, Tony, Candace, and Steve Gorman are the KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show. It's Valentine's Day. Happy February the 14th. Whoo, baby. Let's see what's happening around here. Oh, gosh, I don't know. In about an hour and a half, we're giving away Robert Plant and Alison Krauss tickets. In case if you're sitting there thinking, I mean, how cool are they? That's how cool we are, okay?
Yeah.
That's how cool we are, man.
That's a great show.
Yeah. Do you think they'll do Stairway to Heaven?
They do he does Zeppelin. They do Zeppelin together.
Oh, he just walked you into that one.
Sorry.
The Robert Plant is on the new, it's Rolling Stone now. He's on the new podcast with Rolling Stone. And Plant performed Stairway to Heaven last year at a gig with, it was one of the guys from Duran Duran, wasn't it? It was just like a charity event, like an offshoot thing. I'm losing. I had this in front of me because I saw a thing last night about it. But he performed Stairway to Heaven at like a party or at a charity event unexpectedly. Like the band just kind of said, "You want to do it?" And he said, "Sure."
Oh, with Andy Taylor.
That's what it was, Andy Taylor. Thank you, man. I was like, "What in the world?" I know there's something going on here, and he said in a Rolling Stone thing, he's like, yeah, I don't think I'm probably going to do it again, but I really enjoyed that time. That in the moment, it felt good. I went for it. But he said, hey, something could change somewhere. Spirit and heart could come back into the soul. It's a long song. Who can remember all those words? But yeah, you're right.
It's a long one.
You're right, Candace. He and Allison do Led Zeppelin songs, but he, of course, very famously never wanted to play Stairway again. He lost his son in 1977, and so when they were touring after that, he wouldn't do it. He's like, nah, I'm done with that song. So it's only been a handful of times ever since.
Maybe they'll do the Lemon song. It'll be a nice duet for he and Allison.
How about Mockingbird?
Well, if they did, I guarantee if they did the Lemon song, Allison could turn it into a bluegrass thing about like making lemonade, like literally like they got these lemons and we're making lemonade. Right. I'm a big fan of Alison Krauss. I mean, which is silly to say because if you've ever heard her for 1 second, you also are a fan. As a singer, she's kind of without peer, but man, just as a musician. From another planet, that woman. I mean, really, really astounding. We are talking about Valentine's Day, and we were telling stories of how we have met significant others, either the ones we're with or in the past. Everybody's got some pretty good meet cute stories, if you will. Candace, do we have a caller right now?
Yes, George from Newport.
George, good morning, sir.
Hey, how you doing, buddy?
I'm good, buddy. What do you got for us?
Well, hey, I think you're going to love this story here. Years ago, I was playing with my band called Red Line at a place in St. Paul Park called Willie's Hidden Harbor. Played there for years. Mm-hmm. And there was a gal that had a birthday party, 30th birthday party. So we got her up on stage, and I had these, like, fake guitars. So she's playing with us, fake guitars, people taking pictures. We were both married, and years ago, we got divorced, and I happened to hook up with her and didn't remember this, hooked up with her. We've been together 15 years, and it's just so funny because a couple years after we were together, we were at her mom and dad's house on Big Marine Lake, and all of a sudden her mom comes up with this picture of me on stage with her and the fake guitars at her 30th birthday. And it was just like unbelievable. We've been together 15 years. She's a great gal. I actually just proposed to her over Christmas. And we're going to get married in the fall. And it was just freaking awesome.
That's great. I did get a kick out of that. We all did. Thank you, brother. Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. You guys are awesome. Love you guys all. You do a great job.
Thanks so much, man. We appreciate you listening.
I wonder, if it hadn't been for the photograph, they would maybe have never known about that one-night tryst. They're probably both a little sloppy drunk or whatever. And it
Could have been.
I wonder how many folks got together that may have hooked up earlier. I like Kim's here on the KQ Facebook page. This is unique. I came home from work when it was dark, went to unlock my door, and a moth flew in my ear. I wish I was joking. I was absolutely horrified. It was still alive when the ER removed it. I couldn't drive myself to the ER, so I had my new neighbor at the time, which happened to be the first time I introduced myself to him. Hi, I'm your neighbor. I have a moth in my ear. Took him in. We're married now. It was an interesting experience for both of us. LOL. Kimberly, yeah, that's pretty unique.
Yeah, that's pretty good. I like this one, Carla. My husband and I were 6th grade sweethearts. He claims I dumped him. We went our separate ways. After 40 years, a friend set us up on a blind date. Next month, our 8th year anniversary.
I love that.
That's incredible.
Like, where do I know you from? You seem familiar for some reason. Yeah, the old 6th grade.
6th grade sweethearts. I wonder what old Ashley Barnett is up to now that I think back to 6th grade sweethearts.
Yeah.
I'm afraid to find out. I'm sure. I could make one phone call and find out because I still got friends from my hometown who know everything. So, we'll just move on from there. Ashley Barnett. No, I'm not going to move on. I'm going to tell you. First time I ever played Spin the Bottle at a party in 6th grade. And she said, Steve. And I was like, that's it. I'm in love. We're going to get married. hadn't even noticed her beforehand. She called my name and I stood up, a changed man.
Yeah.
Never.
In the bottle.
I've never.
Steve.
What? It's true.
Funny.
It's that 7-Up bottle just coming around. Won't.
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
Man,
I remember We had, that was, I remember the first spin the bottle, and it was Heidi and I, and she was so bashful, we had to go into the next room to kiss. So we went into the next room and kissed, and same thing. I believe it was my first kiss, and I was in love. Still am, a little bit. I don't know whatever happened to Heidi.
For anybody out there listening who isn't matched yet, it is Valentine's Day, and there are some superstitions you probably need to be aware of. I was unaware of all of these, but let's share a few with you. There's a little something they call the early bird. It says, pay close attention to the first bird you see on Valentine's Day. It may just offer a hint about your future other half.
Awesome.
Spot a sparrow, and you're going to marry someone poor.
Uh-oh.
If you see a goldfinch, you have hit the jackpot. You're going to be married to a millionaire.
Who sees a goldfinch, for crying out loud?
what the
Sparrows
heck?
are everywhere.
Robin, if you see a robin in the sky flying, that suggests you'll end up with a sailor.
Well, that's a little early in the
Okay, how about this? A blackbird. Those are a blackbird's
Common.
a good catch-all phrase. That could be a raven or a crow or a starling or a grackle or whatever. A blackbird means you'll marry a clergyman. Candace?
What's a clergyman? A finance guy?
Kind of, in a weird way, sure. Yeah, he's all about investments.
All right, I'm down.
A flock of doves promises a long and happy marriage. Well, again, who's seeing a flock of doves?
Yeah, if you pass another wedding. Maybe.
Yeah.
All right, here it is. But finally, if you stumble upon an owl or woodpecker, you're destined to stay single.
Oh.
How about a vulture?
I think that would fall under the blackbird thing, but maybe not. I don't know.
It means you're going to kill your spouse someday.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Well, if you don't want to wait for a bird, they have one here that if you sit by your bedroom window before sunrise today, so we're too late, before sunrise today, wait patiently because the first man who passes by will be your future husband. Oh, boy, that's taking a chance.
Wow.
What is sunrise? I don't even know.
Who cares? I mean,
Exactly.
Boy, yeah, that's way too risky for me. I'd keep the blinds drawn. I'd wait till noon just to be safe. Don't want to get stuck with that guy, It's but 651-989-ROCK is the talk and text line. If you got a story you want to share, how did you meet your other? Candace, do we have a caller?
Yes, we have Doug from Blaine.
Good morning, Doug. What's up, brother?
Well, I tell you what, years ago, you're talking in the 70s, a friend of mine's wife brought her sister to the racetrack. And kind of like back in the party days, we were having a little party and everything. And I'm like Zepp, kind of stick your chest out, or I'm a good guy. And then I walked up to her and I said, want to get naked? And she looked at me square in the eye and said, an hour later. Talk about taking the wind out of my sail. But we've been getting naked ever since.
Now you're talking. Like that. Fair enough, Doug. So how much later did we cross the Rubicon?
Oh, probably 3 years later.
Okay, fair enough.
So
right on.
Yeah.
Doug, thanks for the call.
It was a good line, huh?
It's a great line. Any story that starts with, okay, back in the 70s, it's always going to be good. I mean, that's just what that was. Thank you for the call, brother. We appreciate it.
Thank you, Doug. I tell you why it was a great line, because most of the time you're going to strike out. Sometimes you'll even get slapped in the face. You'll get a lot of eye rolls, but the one that has a comeback for that, that's the one. That's the one for Doug, sure.
Next time you have an apple, well, I guess this is just for Valentine's Day, grab an apple and start reciting the names of potential spouses while twisting the stem.
Witchy.
No, always do that.
The name it snaps upon will be that of the person you'll marry.
What?
If you need more life spoilers, cut the apple in half, count the seeds to find out how many children you'll have.
Oh, my God.
Every time I have an apple, I still do that. I spin the stem on the lid.
Really?
Yeah.
Witch.
And are you looking for wife number 2 when you do that, or that's just something you do?
It just became a force of habit.
Oh, gotcha. But did it start with you trying to name list of potential spouses, or did this just start from because you had a tick and that stem was going to satisfy an itch?
It was a motor tick. No, as a kid, just whoever I had a crush on. at the time.
Really?
And then
Oh.
you'd kind of spin it quicker or harder to make it land on that letter. And then
I never heard that one.
I missed that
fancy
one too.
Trick, but yeah.
And I grew up in a house. We had 2 apple trees in the yard, and I never knew. Right there, the answers were right in front of me, and I just didn't know enough. Damn.
Well, I mean, you got there in the roundabout way. It took you a while. You didn't need the apple, but you're right. It might have sped things up a little bit for you.
Never landed on R for Rachel. Was way too many letters. Never got that
of
far
course,
down the
yeah.
alphabet.
Right, I know those apple stems. I mean, if it's a good apple, if you keep twisting and twisting and twisting, it's not an apple you want to eat. It's a bad apple. I don't know what the hell I'm even talking about.
Another Valentine's Day omen to avoid, and this is almost impossible. Try not to come across a squirrel on Valentine's Day.
Well, that's going to be tricky.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They symbolize, a squirrel symbolizes marriage to a cheapskate. Wow.
All right. What if you kill the squirrel?
Yeah, well, that's true.
Always kill the damn squirrel.
Yeah, that doesn't.
Yes,
That's
anyway.
by the way, this is tough. I do have some sad news for a Valentine's Day. William Post, one of the men credited with inventing the Pop-Tart, has passed away.
No.
I just had one this morning.
Now, he was 96. So, I mean, this, it's not a tragedy, but it's a sad thing. William Post, known to his friends as Bill, created the Pop-Tart, an idea he said most people just couldn't get their heads around at the time when it was initially planted. A lot of naysayers, and he said people were like, I don't know, Bill, I don't think it's a good idea. But he's like, no, man, trust me, this is going to happen. It took less than a month to get a handmade sample from idea, from him just thinking about it, sketching it, talking about what he wanted. Boom. They did a test. They did a handmade test run of 10,000 samples in Cleveland. They blew off the shelves. I mean, this was an overnight success. Yeah. Annual sales these days, $1 billion every year.
Right.
Oh, the Pop-Tart.
His favorite flavor was the original strawberry, and he never toasted them. Liked them cold.
And that's why you can find, that's the only one left without frosting on it. All the others, they got rid of the blueberry without frosting, unfortunately. I'm not a big frosting guy, except obviously for the cinnamon one, brown sugar.
Brown sugar cinnamon.
Yeah, that's the rocker right there. But they've maintained that unfrosted strawberry. That's a big hit. So it took them, what'd you say, less than a month to come out. It's not like it was a heart valve, for crying out loud. They just had to kind of figure it out. All right, well,
hey, man, back in the 60s, you could get stuff done. You could get a man on the moon in 7 years. You could certainly get a Pop-Tart up and running in 30 days.
What were some of those early designs of the Pop-Tart? No, that's not it. Dang it, Matt. Get the hell out of here with that. Well, Matt, that wasn't a name of the day. I don't know where that came from. Well, I did have one this morning, and I continue to pound away at the Pop-Tarts proudly. It's a perfect breakfast when you're moving around. So, yeah, rest in peace. You've done well for mankind, Bill.
The only breakfast I know that you can count on kind of reliably in the workspace to find in a vending machine.
True.
Yeah, that's right.
There was a competitor for a time called the Toast-'em.
Remember that? And it was kind of flaky, and forget it.
No, God, can you imagine trying to be that guy? I've got a better idea. You can't beat if you're coming up with something called a Toast-'em and your competition is called the stinking Pop-Tart, you are kidding yourself.
Done. Dead in the water. Hey, gang, there's a Valentine's Day spectacular. 5 comedians all in one place. We're going to talk about it with Khadijah Cooper is going to join us here at 8 o'clock. We got the game show at 8:30. Robert Plant, Allison Krauss, tickets up for grabs. There is the KQ Facebook post if you want to jump in with Happy Love Day, your weird get-together with your significant other. We'd love to hear it. 651-989-ROCK, the talk and text line. Might have to get into this America's Top Health Questions that we're checking out. What happens if you eat mold, and can you live without a spine? These are things we're wondering about. We're back pretty quick here. Hang tight.
Connect with us on the KQ Talk and Text line. 651-989-ROCK. That's 651-989-ROCK. 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show. That was Aerosmith with Ragdoll. We've been talking about things like bloomers and old school, romantic notions. That song originally was called Ragtime. Steven Tyler had a whole song about like New Orleans, and it was called Ragtime. And he thought it was really cool. And then they brought in a woman named, a songwriter came in to try to help him out. Her name was Holly Knight. And the label sent her up to say, just see what they got going on. They could use some help with some songs. And this woman walked in and said, Ragtime? That's kind of old-fashioned. No one cares. How about Ragdoll? And he went, okay. And literally for that, she got songwriting credit on the song. That was it. She didn't have. She just said, I think Ragdoll might work. And Tyler was like, yeah, I like it. And next thing you know, she's got a songwriting credit. So sometimes it's just that easy to write a song.
Damn, she just got paid.
She just got paid a lot. Holy smokes, that song that song got a few spins back in the day. Back in the day, we all met someone for the first time. Most of the people you meet, if you think about it, you really probably have to think long and hard about, well, where did we first meet and what was it really like? But occasionally you have a meeting with someone that you never forget a moment of. And we're getting a lot of good stories about first-time meeting significant others on the show today. You're welcome to hit the KQ Facebook page, share a story there. The talk and text line 651-989-ROCK. It's a Valentine's Day of love and warmth and happiness. And oh my gosh, Candace, do we have a caller?
We have 2 callers. Yes, first up, Jerry from Faribault.
Jerry, good morning, sir.
Guys, good morning.
What you got for us, brother?
Well, back in 1987, April, actually, me and my buddy Rich rolled over to the Roseville Mall parking lot to camp overnight for Bon Jovi tickets. And we rolled in there, and like a couple of big studs we thought we were. We pulled our mattresses that we had stolen from my buddy's college out of the back of my pickup truck and grabbed our couple of 6-packs of Seagram's wine coolers and settled into the night.
Okay, I like it so far.
Yeah, so we were there about an hour and a half, and, there's a lot of people there. I mean, this is back before the internet. You had to camp out if you wanted to get tickets.
Sure.
We were there, and about an hour and a half in, I looked over at some planter, one of those big cement planters, and there was a gal sitting there that had the biggest 1980s hair you've ever seen to go along with the biggest smile you've ever seen.
Yeah.
And she was looking at me, and she was smiling at me, and that was basically it for me.
Oh boy.
Yeah,
I was done. I knew I was done.
Yeah.
I'm seeing like some violet eyeshadow as well. Any chance that's
Oh, yeah.
Sure.
Definitely the blues.
Yeah. Oh, sure.
A lot of bracelets.
Yeah. So we ended up talking, went out, and we've been together ever since.
That's fantastic. A light, just a wafting of clove cigarette smoke somewhere nearby. Man.
Oh yeah.
That's as good as it gets right there. That's awesome. Still together all these years later, all because of Bon Jovi. Another great head of teased hair back in the day, as long as we're talking.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Right on. Well, that's great, man. Congrats. That's a hell of a story. Thank you.
I appreciate it. Thanks for letting me on.
You got it.
Okay, have a good day.
And they survived the Seagram's hangover because the Seagram wine cooler, that puts us right back in the violet eyeshadow, right?
Oh, yeah.
Days, the big hair, the whole thing happening right there. And you'd get that sweet little buzz out of it. I've been there, done that, but the hangovers were the worst.
No, there's not enough Advil or Tylenol or powdered aspirin. There's nothing to get. I went for a few Bartles and James drink ups back in the day, and it only took like 3 when I went, oh, wait a minute. I want to die every time I drink a bunch of these wine coolers. What the hell's wrong with me?
Remember Zima? That was really big at the time, too.
You know what? I've never tasted it.
Really? So I used to do Zima bar promotions out at the Mall of America.
Oh, wow.
I forget the name of the bar. Yeah, so I'd go out there, and the Zima reps would all be there, and they'd be like, here's your Zima, Brian. Thank you so much. I'd walk around the other side of the bar, dump it, and then get a shot of Jameson or a Miller High Life or something. And I'd walk back, and they go, boy, you slammed that one. Get this guy another Zima. I'm like, oh, good God.
Yeah,
that just kept repeating itself all night. How about Chris, before we get back to the KQ request line? Chris here on the KQ Facebook page, Cheapskate. You folks will know that from the early 90s around the area. Met his romance there. Spit the first time he had a French kiss. Caught him off guard. It was a bit awkward, but that's how they met.
Oh,
afterwards?
I mean, he had his first French kiss there, and I guess wasn't expecting the tongue, and he spit. You ever have anybody go in for the tongue on tongue, and but it was a little awkward, but they survived it there at Cheapskate roller skating rink, wasn't it? I hear people bring it up all the time. I don't know if it's still around or not.
I just had a really bizarre, bittersweet is a nice way to put it, memory of being at a school dance. And I was in either 7th or 8th grade, but I remember the girl that asked me to dance, and she was not one class ahead of me, but 2. She was in my brother Doug's class. I'm like, do you want to dance? And I thought, and of course I'm thinking, is this going to be something where everyone laughs at me because I'm dancing with a sophomore? And we went out for a slow dance, and we were there we are dancing, and suddenly I'm like, wait, I think we're both feeling something. And we started to make out. It was like the craziest thing ever. But to me, and I thought, well, I'll just give a little. And she just went full on, like boom, with the tongue. It was everything I could do to not, again, just be like, well, I guess we're going to have to go hang out with our parents now and make plans for the future. But yeah, that was shocking. And I was really taken aback. I had kissed a girl before in that fashion, but not shocked by someone 2 years older. It was like I probably did. There was probably spit. There was probably, I think my heart might have even stopped now that I think back on it. And if memory serves, the song playing was Sometimes When We Touch. But who can remember such details? Perfect. These things happen. Candace, do we have another caller?
Yeah.
Are we sure? Nothing says great show, Steve, like lulling Candace to sleep with my anecdotes.
Well, no. So I accidentally hung up on Bart. So if you want to call back Bart, that'd be cool. I think this is I think this is Mike from Blaine. I got them all mixed up.
Okay, hey, these things happen. Hey, who's on the phone? Caller, what's your name?
Hi, it's Mike.
Hey, Mike, what do you got for us, brother? Thanks for calling.
Well, no problem. Back in the early 70s.
Yeah, like it.
I had one of those things called an afro. Buddy and I went into a bar, walking past the table, and I heard a voice say, I want to light his hair on fire. And I turned around and looked at her, and I said, well, can I buy you a drink? Got to talking, went out for a cigarette. She says, whose car is that? Well, we came in my buddy's 7340 Cuda. And I said, oh, that's my buddy's. Want to ride in it? We've been married 48 years.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, the Cuda always gets the job done.
Oh,
I don't
hell
know about
yeah,
the
it
Afro,
does.
But how's the Afro doing these days?
Oh, I got
Oh, Mike, I'm sure he doesn't have it. By the way, Phil just texted me, my buddy Phil, Cheapskate in Coon Rapids, still going strong.
Is
Dropped
it
his daughter
really?
there the other night. Yeah.
I want to go. Let's go.
I've never
Get
been to
your
Coon
pom-poms.
Rapids. I'm all for it. Let's do it.
All right. Cheapskate. Can you skate? Was that your thing back in the day? I bet you were the guy that sat down on one foot with one leg out, could go back.
No, I ice skated as a kid, and then we moved to Kentucky where it was all about the roller skates. And I went once early at the Kingsway Skate, and it was packed. I mean, it was the spot. And I did not take to it as quickly, and I wasn't as confident. And I went, I'm done. And my skating career ended after one try of roller skating. I look back and realize I probably should have stayed on that horse and gotten more comfortable there.
I think you would have ended up breaking both your arms before you broke both your arms.
Chances are. Although that was the same skating rink. I was in there several other times for other events, including the time my brother Dave was appearing at a kid's birthday party as Big Bird. He's 6'6", and the
That's
costume
a Gorman
fit.
gig there.
Yeah, so he was towering over all these kids, and there was one kid who kept going, "You're not Big Bird," and he's going, "Yes, I am Big Bird." And the kid kept coming and punching his leg, and he goes, "I know you're not the real Big Bird." And Dave was like, "I am Big Bird," like 50 times. And then finally, he kind of turned away from the crowd, and he goes, "I'll tell you a secret." And the kid goes, "What's that?" And Dave bent over and goes, "I'm the devil, and I'm taking you to hell if you talk to me again."
That's hilarious.
And the kid literally his eyes were dinner plates, man. He ran off, and then Dave immediately was like, everybody, let's go back to the party. It was incredible.
I was going to kick his ass.
Absolutely amazing.
He wouldn't have pulled that crap with Oscar the Grouch.
No, not a chance.
Got one right in the mush right there. Oh, yeah, the old roller skating rink. I was the farm kid, so we went in like twice a year for a birthday party, but all the town kids were doing the tricks, and I was hanging onto the wall, not getting that last skate. What they call it, the moonlight skate. They turn on the disco ball.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, that's how you get a romance cooking right there.
We used to go every weekend, man. There's nothing more exciting than when they called out Snowball.
Now,
that was couple skate.
Oh, that's couple skate?
Yeah.
I've been thinking about that. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of young relationships forged over all those torn ACLs at the roller rink. That's fun. Candace, do we have another caller?
Yes.
Okay, great.
Just checking in.
Any other questions, mister?
Moving along.
Any idea who the caller is?
Yes. Wow. I'm just kidding. Crap. It's Greg from Maplewood.
Greg, what's up, brother?
Hey, how you doing?
All is well on this end. What have you got for us?
Oh, I got a story for you. Okay, I graduated in '84, and in 2006, I was over at my brother's house, and he goes, "Did you hear that Fran died?" It was a friend of ours, and I said, "No, I didn't know that." And he said, "Yeah, she died a couple weeks ago or something like that." And then the next week, and me and my other brother went up to the Blues Fest up in Duluth. And we're sitting there, we're listening to a band, drinking beers, and all of a sudden, somebody walked by, and I just went, "Whoa." I said, "I just seen a ghost." I thought I just seen Fran, and Todd said that she died a couple weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
And my brother's going, "Okay, yeah, you're seeing things. I think you had too many." And I go, "Come on, no way." And then later on that night, a few hours later, we're really buzzed out now, and then I seen her again, and I went, "No way." I ran up to her, and I said, Fran. And she goes, "Hey, how you doing, Greg?" And I said, "Fine. I heard that you were dead." And she goes, "I heard that too." And ever since then, we got married 3 years later, and we've been together ever since.
Wow.
Great line.
That's amazing.
Unbelievable. Yeah.
You're the first ghost husband that's called us on the show. That's fantastic. Married to a ghost.
Yeah, it's like the first, second time we've ever seen each other or met.
Oh, that's
Weird.
awesome. Yeah, that's something right there. Thanks for the call, Greg. That is a great story. It's my first thought is, remember in the day when you could hear, did you hear someone died? No. Yeah, it was a couple weeks ago, because news used to travel that slowly.
Yeah, right.
Like, there's someone you went to elementary school with and haven't seen since, and if they died now, you'd know within 24 hours.
Yeah,
Back then. Oh, really? Oh, no, I had no idea. Wow.
I love the class of 1984 part there. He was at the Booze Fest up in Duluth. Do they still have the Booze Fest? Now it's called Grandma's Marathon, or they come up with that tribute band weekend or whatever. But back in the 80s, yeah, we just called it what it was. It's Booze Fest. Class of 84.
What was that show? The Ghost and Mrs. Muir? Wasn't that something?
Yes.
Yeah.
Ghost and Mrs. Muir.
That's right. That was, I don't remember a thing about it other than the name, but hey, for, a call from Greg, and all of a sudden I'm getting all these incomplete memories. Candace, anybody else on that phone line?
Yeah, this is going to be interesting. We have Anonymous from Blaine.
Okay, we're going Anonymous from Blaine. Cover your ears, children. What's up?
Good morning, guys. So real quick story. Back in the 80s, I was in a fraternity, and right around this time of the year, they held what they called a pimp and prostitute party. The catch is the guys dressed as the prostitutes and the ladies dressed as the pimps. I'm at this party dressed in my pantyhose and a dress, which, in short, I ended up meeting my now wife.
Pimp.
We were married 6 months after that party, and 35 years to date. So that's my story.
Wow. I tell you what, that's a lesson for anybody out there. You're a good pair of hose away from probably meeting your future wife.
I'm sure it was my wonderful looking legs and the pantyhose that put us together.
Anonymous, legs of a showgirl, I'm betting. Yeah. I can see it. That's great. Thank you for the call.
Thanks, guys.
Guy's got a
got it.
set of gams, I'll bet.
Again, the 80s strikes again. Pimps and prostitutes parties.
Just a very, very different. I mean, if they had that party now, it would be social workers and nuns, or so. It'd be like, yeah, come on, let's have some fun for crying out loud. Tony, speaking of fun, Tony, I believe you have a message for us.
Yes, just a reminder, Valentine's Day is a chance to express yourself, but don't be too obsessive about it.
Thank you for calling the Valentine's Day Relationship Hotline. To find out your status level, answer the following. If you've been dating less than a year, press 1. If you've been dating less than a month, press 1. If you've been dating less than a week, press 1. If you've been dating less than a day, if you've never met but you followed her home once and your infatuation became a compulsive fantasy, press 1. If she didn't know that you hid in the bushes taking secret pictures of her coming and going, press 1. If you used those pictures of her to wallpaper your tiny basement apartment, press 1. If you molded a life-size replica of her out of clay, if there was a restraining or need a lampshade out of her buried the vacuum. To find out your Valentine's Day relationship score, press stop. Your level of status is
most wanted list. Please stay on the line while we trace this call.
Oh, that's
good advice, I guess.
Yeah, that's nice. I like
We've all been there.
Yeah, we have. Valentine's Day Spectacular. Why not go there? 5 great comedians all in one spot tonight. Sounds like a hell of a good time. The Laugh Camp Comedy Club, featuring, among others, Khadijah Cooper is going to join us in studio. Hang tight.
It's the KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS. Zep, Tony, Candace, and Steve Gorman are the KQ Morning Show. 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show. It is Valentine's Day, February the 14th. On the show today, in about 30 minutes, we're going to give away Robert Plant and Allison Krauss tickets. At 9:30, we're going to speak with a woman named Sierra Barter, who has a new show on Max, or HBO, as I still call it. Turns out her grandfather may be a serial killer. That's a true story. It's going to be kind of wild. So plenty of things still to come. But right now, more importantly, we are joined by Khadijah Cooper, who is at the Valentine's Day Super Show over at Laugh Camp Comedy Club tonight. 5 great comics, all locally based comics. The Valentine's Day Super Show. Khadijah, good morning.
Good morning.
Thanks for coming by.
Thanks for having me.
It's Valentine's Day. We've been discussing earlier today about meeting significant others, either current or in the past, or just weird Valentine's Day stories. Anything ever happen in your life on this day?
Yeah, I think when I was younger, I had like this really romanticized idea what Valentine's Day meant.
Sure.
And I was in a relationship with somebody who was like a carpenter. And, you know, when you date a carpenter, the job always has to get done. So there was a Valentine's Day where we were pulling up carpet, laying new carpet, fixing the bathroom.
Sure.
And I was quite the brat that day, I will admit. And I was like, this is not Valentine's Day. And he's like, well, this is the best day because I think, you know, back then it was like on a Saturday or something. He's like, this is the day that we have to do it. And, you know, we wanted to do these upgrades and like, this is when it's happening. And I'm like, not today, not today.
Yeah, man.
But as I got older, I was like, that is the ultimate sign of love. And house upgrade? Like,
sure.
That is the ultimate way you show somebody you love. New carpet.
Oh, I'm my wife right now, she looks at me, and if I said, let's get new carpet, there's nothing sexier I could possibly say to her.
Yeah, well, you can roll around on that new carpet and have
That's
a little
right.
fun, you know? Sure.
No question. Man,
With age comes wisdom.
that's a fact right there. Khadijah, you have a couple things that I find pretty fascinating. You're obviously a comedian, but you also have a day job. You are a professional sex educator, which is important work. I'm sure at times it's truly doing the Lord's work, because if there's any part of someone's life they could always use a little illumination on, it's probably that. But at the same time, you've got to find some pretty funny moments along the way in that job.
Oh my gosh, that's why I still work, because it just feels like comedy. You know, I think when I'm doing like sex education with students, they're curious. They have so much information at their fingertips. So a lot of my job is like, that's not true. That's not real. Like, that's not what we do. Like, that's not how that happens. Nope, that's not real. Like, please stop watching that. Log off,
Right.
And I also notice, like, people of my generation, I'm an 80s baby. Like, we didn't get to have these conversations.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm constantly having friends be like, do you want to go to brunch? And it's just a ploy for me to, like, support them in their relationships, which I'm more than happy to do. But it's like, just ask me for relationship advice. Don't brag me with, like, mimosas, like, just get to the point.
Well, that's decent. I mean, I would have gone the other way. I want to be bribed for some information. If you want to request on KQ, I can be bribed. However, I mean, what seems to be just generally overarching the big complaint amongst women dating men when it comes to sex? I mean, what's the thing that seems to frustrate them the most?
I think in my experience, what I hear the most is, like, men don't know how to please women. And I also think this is, controversial, but I also think women don't do a good job of explaining what they like because they've been told their whole life that they shouldn't, right? They should just, like, take what they can get and so I think it kind of goes on both ways. We have to grow in a way of, like, okay, I could feel confident and comfortable having this conversation with my partner. Like, I don't like that. I do like that. And then the partner has to not take it personal and be like, what a gift. Like, I get this person to tell me exactly what they like, and in return, both of you are having a way better experience.
Yeah, well, and I want to give guys the benefit of the doubt because I would complain about that too. I remember one time amongst the breakup, she's like, you never did it with me. I like it like this, and you never once tried it. And I'm like, you never once brought it up. Yeah. But having said that, I know a lot of guys were so, when it comes to sex, we're so insecure that if you suggest, hey, why don't you try this? Well, you don't like what it is I do, so you're right. You got to meet in the middle there.
Yeah, I mean, I learned a lot, I feel, in my previous relationships or situationships or whatever you want to call. I tolerated that, and but now I think I found the right person because it's so comfortable to talk about that stuff, and it's so open and nice.
Absolutely. And, like, a little fun tip is, like, don't have these conversations when you're about to have sex. Have these conversations when, like, you're at dinner or watching TV, because then the risk is lower, right? The stakes aren't so high. People aren't, like, feeling things physically, and then, like, you hit them with this emotional blow that they don't know what to do with. And so, like, a friendly tip is, don't be, like, in the middle of them and be like, I hate it when you do that. And he's like, I've been doing that for years. What are you talking about? And then, there's tears, and then there has to be all sorts of stuff that happens after that.
Yeah. Am I the only one breaking out in a rash right now?
I'm fidgeting.
That's okay. Just get some cream. It's okay.
Khadijah Cooper is with us on the KQ Morning Show tonight, the Valentine's Day Super Show at Laugh Camp. Khadijah Cooper, 5 great comics on stage, including our buddy Maggie Ferris. She's been around. She's been on the show a couple times. You can get tickets at camp-bar.net. Khadijah, you are right now single, correct?
I am. This is my first Valentine's Day single in a really long time. So.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay, then. So
I'm just kidding. I'm not crying.
651-989 Rock.
Yeah.
No, I'm not. Let's not go there.
Let's go ahead and put me out there. I would love a date. Anybody listening?
I mean, she's a sex educator, fellas. This is your path. This should be easy, right?
No pressure.
You would
there.
think so. You would think it'd be easy, but it's a lot of explaining of what actually that means in real life versus what people hope it means.
Right.
But yeah.
It's great. I have 2 kids. They're both in college. My wife and I, as parents, as open and as communicative as we can all be, you can't help but have moments of when you're discussing these things with your kids where it does feel a little awkward, because like you said, you're a child of the 80s. I'm a child of the early, 60s and 70s, which is even further back in the why would you talk about that? Just pretend you know what it is and don't ask me any more questions era. That said, you also have a daughter. Do you have you ever had a moment where you're talking about these things, but then suddenly you're like, oh my God, my parent brain is on and I'm feeling awkward?
Yeah, I will say I got to cheat a little bit because my daughter did go to schools where my organization was doing programming. So she kind of got it from people that I worked with, people that she knew growing up. But there's still those moments where it's like, okay, I got to like have a mom brain because, you know, the way that I talk about it in schools is very different because I'm not talking about my personal values in schools, but like obviously at home, that's the most important.
Right.
And there is moments where it's awkward, but you know, I think the best tip I can give to parents is just make it short and sweet. I think as parents, we want to go on and on and on and on and on and on. We have this experience and this wisdom and all of these things we want to tell our young person, but like you really got to boil it down to like a sentence. Like, what is the most important thing that you want your young person to walk away with after you have like whatever the conversation about sex, relationship, love, all of that? Because then in bite-sized pieces, it becomes their like tape in their head when they're making decisions independently from their parents.
Wow. Yeah, my only magic trick I ever learned was how to make my kids' eyes glaze over. I can do that like no one's business. I mean, I'm like Copperfield with that one. Khadijah, so is your daughter also does the humor gene run in the family? I know your mom was also a comedian. What about your daughter?
Yeah, so my daughter has done one stand-up comedy show with me. I did a birthday show, and I really had to bribe her and pay. I had to pay her what I paid all the other comics, so like that just lets you know what kind of relationship we have. But she is hilarious, but she has no interest right now of being on stage telling jokes.
Probably a sign of a great emotional health right now at her age.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I don't want to impress strangers. Oh my God, where do you get that gene?
Yeah, she really has a like, I don't care what other people think, it like fueling inside of her, and I'm like, good for you, kid. Good for you. That's
great. So, but your mom, Cece Cooper, was a comedian. Was that a full-time gig for her as well?
It wasn't. So she always worked. It was more part-time for her. And I remember growing up and being 8 years old at Pepito's. They did an open mic there, and she would bring me. This was the 90s, folks, so, like, relax.
Oh, yeah.
Like, people smoking in the back. I'm like, yeah, this is where you take your child at, like, 8 o'clock at night on a school night. This is normal, right?
Yeah.
And I just remember seeing my mom in lights and being like, she's so funny, and not really understanding the jokes and thinking, like, my mom is famous, which is just, like, such a skewed, because then we would, like, go back to our, like, suburban life, and it was I was like, famous people don't live like this. Actually, I don't think famous people live like this. But it was amazing, and I think what I always hold is like, no matter what you're going through, like laughter was always core in my house and in my family. So we're always cutting up, always making jokes, and I'm so grateful for that experience.
There's a pretty good chance I saw your mom perform. I mean, Pepito's. I lived in South Minneapolis, not far from there in the 90s, and was hanging out there all the time. What a great hang.
Yeah. She had a Jerry curl back then. Yeah.
Yeah, let's go down. Let's talk about the Jerry curl.
Yeah, let's.
When did it officially end? Because I know people that I know went way past the point. I lived down south for a lot of years, and I'd still bump into friends and be like, "Really? Is that still a thing?" Like, when did that go out of fashion?
Yeah, I'm not sure, but I did have one when I was like 8.
Yeah,
so I think I was pushing the like last of the product for Jerry curls. I think like the 90s really was a good cutoff, but then you have some like old school folks who are like, this is my look, right?
Yeah.
We all have those people in our life where it's like, that was cute in the 70s, but like you're still rocking it in the 2000s. Do you?
Oh, I could pull up some high school Facebook friends who are still rocking the mullet too. You know what I mean?
And now it's back. It's back. So I hope the Jerry curl does not come back. We don't need those kind of grease stains. We're not equipped to clean for that.
No, I don't think it is. I think people are far more aware of not germaphobe. We're not more germophobic, but there's just more a sense of really. I don't want to have to put the COVID just brought all that out of us. We're always aware of what we're touching now.
Yeah, and the Jerry curl. it's a messy hairstyle.
Yeah.
It's a very drippy, messy hairstyle.
Were you ever I'm sure you're a fan of music, but was there ever a side of you, did you ever sing or play an instrument?
No. I wanted to play the saxophone because I thought it was like sexy. I thought it was going to be like super cool.
It is, and you were right. Yes.
Thank you. But I don't have the coordination, the breath that it takes, the finger thing. So I played it for like maybe a week, and I was like, I'm good.
Yeah.
You know that time in 6th grade where they're like, okay, we're going to introduce you to instruments. What instrument do you want to play? And I'm like, I want to play the saxophone. That's the way to get all the boys.
Yeah, I did that too, but with the trumpet, and because my dad also played trumpet, so we had one. So we didn't have to buy anything. But then I hated the spit. Did you have to spit? Is there a spit function with the sax?
Yeah, and listen, my grandma's from the South. Are you kidding me? If I had to spit like that, she would, oh my God, no way. No way. It's not very ladylike. She would roll over. No.
Just be little pools of sweat between every kid's feet sitting there. I remember that.
Yeah, it's just like spit, sweat, and BO. It's like, stop introducing instruments to middle schoolers. They can't handle it.
Whereabouts in the South is Grandma from?
So my grandma's from South Carolina. There's this small little town, Chadburn. I don't even know if you can find it on a map. Honestly, it's teeny tiny. And so I was really lucky. So my mom is actually from New York. So my grandmother grew up in the South and then moved to New York to raise her family. And so my mom's from upstate New York. And then my mom was like, I'm going to raise my daughter in Minnesota. So I'm born and raised here. I'm homegrown.
Oh, gotcha. Okay. Yeah. But it's good to have some other places you can look to and feel a connection to anyway. You know, you got to pick up stuff from everywhere you go.
Absolutely.
So have you been down in the Carolinas then? I mean, you visited family there ever or friends?
Yeah, so every summer I would be able to go visit my grandmother and like run barefoot in the fields, eat grapes off the vine, go fishing. Yeah. My grandma used to catch rabbit and squirrel. We used to eat it. Yeah, so yeah, and then my mom is very brassy, very like East Coast. So yeah, I kind of got like a mix of that, and then I have just like a little passive aggressive sprinkled on top because I'm from here. You know, so it's like what a beautiful mix.
Just a dollop, if is what they'd say down south.
Just a dollop.
That's great. The Valentine's Day Super Show is tonight, 8 p.m. at the Laugh Camp Comedy Club. Khadijah Cooper, Pierre Douglas, Maggie Ferris, Ellie Hino? How do you say that name?
Yeah, it's Hino.
Hino and Sam Shedler, all locally based comedians, if I'm not mistaken. 8 p.m. that show starts. Now, are you like, how's this show run? What's the? Are you like hosting and introducing people, or are you just the headliner? What's going on?
Yeah, so it's like a showcase, so everybody will get the same amount of time. Sam is going to kick off the night as the host, and then we'll just kind of all, take our turns telling our funny stories, about love or the lack thereof in my case. So we got people on the show who are single, me, and people who are, in a relationship. We got people who've been married for a really long time with kids. So it's really like the full spectrum of love.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Hey man, I've been seeing all kinds of things on my social media posts about, take yourself on a date. Who needs a dude right now? So
yeah, who needs a dude? And also, just another shameless plug, I do have another show happening on Sunday at 2 p.m. where I'm mixing the two things that I love so much, comedy and sex education, but it's for adults. So it's going to be really cool. We have Ellie Hino will be back, and then Gabby OK will be doing comedy to start the day. And then I have two sexuality educators that I know really well in the field. And we're going to be having a conversation, and we'll be able to answer questions. So this is for people who are dating, single, newly in a relationship. And it's just going to be a fun time. And it has kind of like a brunch vibe. So you can get a babysitter at 2 p.m. Come on down, have a beer mimosa at Sisyphus, and we'll have like a really good time.
Man, have a laugh, look in the mirror, and learn a little something about yourself with Khadijah Cooper. Sounds like a plan.
Yeah.
That's awesome. It is great to have you on the show. You are welcome back anytime. Thanks so much.
Oh, my gosh. Thank you. It's been a pleasure.
You got it.
Connect with us on the KQ Talk and Text line. 651-989-ROCK. That's 651-989-ROCK. 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show. It's Valentine's Day. And a woman named Kaylin Rosenberg, she's a love architect.
I know her.
She's a matchmaker. And, she's on her Instagram page, it says celebrity love architect, spiritual healer, author. She knows a lot about love, knows a lot about relationships. And she's saying if you are a Minnesotan and you're looking for love, you might want to look elsewhere.
It's not here.
Here's a quote. The Minnesota nice stuff has got to stop. She cites passive-aggressive crap and codependency issues as stumbling blocks. And people say, Steve, you're not a Minnesotan. And I say, hey, sorry, here's my codependency card. I fit right in.
Yeah.
She says guys from Minnesota should be with women from Chicago. Women from Minnesota should be with guys from Denver.
Oh, there you go.
Interesting.
No joking. We're mismatched. And she says Minnesota on top of Minnesota or side by side or underneath Minnesota, as the case may be. Minnesota's two Minnesotans could be a lot of problems. Look elsewhere. Go west, go south, find your mate elsewhere.
Yeah, definitely don't look in Wisconsin.
She's a friend and a distant relative, actually. She knows her stuff.
No, she's a love
that's
architect.
good advice. Absolutely.
Yeah. Wow. A distant relative, huh?
Does it count if you meet here, but they're from somewhere else?
No, I think it's fine if they're from somewhere else. Yeah.
They've lived here for a long time.
As long as it's not like Louisiana. Can you imagine?
Yeah, whereabouts? You want to definitely want to run the actual place you're talking about through some filters. Make sure.
Did you celebrate Fat Tuesday yesterday, Ken?
I did. I went to Smack Shack.
Oh, the best.
Yeah, good
call. It was awesome. I got some beads, had a hurricane drink, and first time having okra, fried okra.
I'm sorry.
Not bad.
To hear that.
First
it was
time.
good. I liked it a lot. It was juicy.
Right.
I got
green,
nothing.
Right?
Yeah.
Listen, I got nothing but love for okra. And any way you want to prepare it, just lay it on me. I'm down with okra, man.
Just think about this when we get together for the big okra feed, when we go out to the okra festival, you guys get to have all mine.
Nice. I love that.
Well, I was worried because I hate celery. And my friend was like, it's kind of like celery. And I was like, okay, I'm not going to like it.
Don't fear celery.
So good. Ick. Celery's useless.
No, that's not true. In the Jell-O Sunday morning, you take that to church and you put, why the hell do they put celery and carrots?
Oh, yeah, the shredded carrots.
Yeah, why would they do that? It used to piss me off.
That's weird. But I have no problem taking a stalk of celery, I can eat celery just with a little salt on it, or even better, just dip it in peanut butter and go to town.
Celery
it's
and
peanut butter spoon. It was made from that.
Put some raisins on top there. You got ants on a log.
Raisins?
Jeez, man. Why don't you just slap some okra on there while you're at it?
First, you're telling me it's going to snow tonight. Then you come in here and tell me about raisins. You're just ruining my favorite holiday.
Raisins on top of a peanut butter slathered celery stalk. What is it, my birthday?
Ants on a log, they call it.
You guys are Puerto Rican.
Never even heard of that sort. I've never even heard of such a thing.
Give her a run.
I'd rather eat ants on a log, literally.
If your birthday's June 7th, then you might want to head about over. You might want to think about heading to the Mystic Lake Casino. The Mystic Amphitheater. Well, that night we'll be hosting Robert Plant. Remember him? Old Bob Plant out of the Led Zeppelin camp, and Alison Krauss. Allie, they call her. I don't think anyone does. Plant and Krauss, Friday, June 7th at the Mystic Amphitheater. We've got tickets to give away. Holy smokes. That show, they are great, too. That is a hell of a show. This is a genuine, I will do all I can to be at that show myself. And we're going to play a game. We've got a couple callers who are ready to compete. Tony, what is today's competition?
Good. Today's the day of romance and love, so let's play this.
Eating candy all day long.
For Valentine's Day, you can have one with a heart.
Flowers and candy, they're for me.
What I'm trying to say is...
What I'm trying to say is...
I love you. I love you.
That's why you're my Valentine.
I don't deserve you.
Happy Valentine's Day, sweetheart.
Mwah.
Mwah. Wow. Mwah.
We're going to play, well, this is a staple, of course. You get the package of, I think it was from Brock's, the Valentine's Day candy conversation hearts with little messages on them, especially when you were younger. So we're going to play, is it a Valentine's Day candy conversation heart message, or is it not? Is it real or made up?
Wow. I like it.
Gail, we had to hand them out when we were in elementary school. Gail, little cards. Everyone had to bring a card for everyone.
Sure.
So no one was left out. And you'd buy them in those packs, those like baseball card packs. Mom would get a bunch at whatever the local store. And a lot of people would put the candy hearts on there. Gail Eichstead, who was a booger eater, I don't know if she still is or not, but would lick off all the little messages. And so you would get a half-licked candy heart. Not cool.
So her message was booger eater.
Booger eater. She was a booger eater.
She's
Cut her all the time.
She's still eating those boogers. I put money on it.
Yeah.
Well, let's get to it then. Candace, who's contestant number 1?
Okie dokie. We have Marcia from Egan.
Marcia, good morning.
Good morning.
Oh, man, listen to that. Are you ready to play Candy Conversation or not?
I sure am.
Awesome. That's great. Good luck to you. Tony's going to take it from here.
All right, Marcia, dear, the first one, picture a little heart. It says, be mine. Is that real or made up?
Real.
That is right. Be mine is a staple.
Boom.
Number 2, I heart the notebook.
True.
Yes.
I heart the notebook?
Yes, I researched these.
Right. Yeah.
That lame movie, yeah.
Lame?
Yeah, I know. That's how I piss off my daughter Taylor, your same age, yeah. I'm like, Notebook, that sucked, man. Dad. But it did.
You suck, man.
I will. I'm capable.
Who knows what that means? I think there's a heart. There's a heart that says that. Number 3, die Travis, die Taylor.
No.
Correct.
Oh, hard no.
That's just mean.
Well, the German, it's the Travis, the Taylor. So that's possibly.
Marcia, number 4, bestiality, fine by me.
Repeat that, Tony.
Bestiality, fine by me.
We've got him on tape saying it.
I'm going to say no.
Correct.
It could have gone either way.
A lot of letters.
Thank goodness. Maybe in the Netherlands in the 14th century, but yeah, definitely not now.
All right, Marcia, number 5, girl, you fine.
Yes.
Yes.
Wow.
Number 6, don't let your meat loaf.
Don't let your meat loaf. No.
Does not.
Man.
Made up. And your last one, number 7, hear the call for pickleball.
No.
Good job. Wow, nailed it.
That's a lucky 7 right there, Marcia. You ran the table. Well done. That is awesome. All right. Well,
thank you.
Yeah, that's called hitting the ground running on a Valentine's Day morning. Congrats to you for going a perfect 7 for 7. We're going to see what contestant number 2 is able to do. So sit tight, Marcia. We'll be back to you momentarily. Candace, who's contestant number 2?
Nikki from Apple Valley.
Nikki, good morning.
Good morning. How are you all?
We're great, thank you. Happy Valentine's Day.
Happy V-Day.
All right. Are you ready to play this here game? Are you familiar with the candy hearts?
I am, yes. I grew up, like Zepp said, handing them out to the favorites and not so favorites.
Sure. Yeah.
All right, yeah. As we all did. Perfect. Okay, so Tony's going to take it from here. Good luck to you.
Thank you.
All right, Mickey, here's your first one. Lovey-dovey.
Real.
It is.
Boom.
Number 2, stalker in training.
Wishful, but not real.
Wishful.
I like your style.
Hey, very real, but just not on the heart.
Yeah.
Number 3, ED sometimes.
Can you say that again, Tony?
ED sometimes.
ED sometimes.
Real.
I'm sorry. That would
Comes on a little blue heart, doesn't it?
Just being honest.
Also,
it sounded weird, so I figured maybe.
She was thinking of Ed. Do you know an Ed? Ed forever. Sometimes. I mean.
All right, we're still playing. We still got tickets for a runner-up prize. So let's see what let's finish this thing out.
Let's whale through number 4. You're cute.
Real.
You are cute, Mickey.
Mm-hmm.
Number 5, Lil Birdie Chirpy Herpy.
Not real.
Correct. It's not.
Oh, it's very real.
I heard. Number 6 is Lube Up.
Not real.
Oh, my favorite Jiffy Lube sign I saw passing one day over in St. Paul. If you love it, lube it. There you go.
Mm-hmm. And your last one, Kisses from the Missus.
Real.
That is right. Oh, you did so good.
Man, Nikki, 6 for 7. On any other day, that would have probably brought home the bacon.
Right.
But Marcia was just on her game with 7 for 7. Nikki, you are going to go home as our runner-up with a 4-pack of tickets to the Minneapolis Home and Garden Show. February 21st through the 25th at the Minneapolis Convention Center, provided by Marketplace Events. Marcia is going to go have a Friday night with Robert Plant and Allison Krauss, June 7th at the Mystic Amphitheater. Congratulations. That's going to be great. Marcia just hung up on me.
My nose.
Well, I hope it itches when you pee, Marcia. What come on. Oh, she's so rude. Who hangs up on someone on Valentine's Day?
Maybe they're busy.
No, that was
writing you letters.
She was overcome with emotion.
I've seen that fake heart. It itches when I pee, or does it itch when you pee? Something like that. I've seen that one before.
They do have the inappropriate ones. I remember a gal handing them out at a bar one night, and I got one. She handed me one, ride me, and I was like, yeah. And she's like, knock it off. It's a joke, like your shirt. Huge bird. It was a new flannel that night, too. It was a red classic.
Can't believe
for Valentine's Day.
She didn't appreciate the new flannel. Go figure.
No, but who doesn't want to ride that?
These people.
Soft. Yeah.
It's brutal. Man, that's a good game. We got to remember that one for next year. I guess there's no point in playing it until next Valentine's Day.
I guess not.
You mentioned Fat Tuesday being yesterday. And it just dawned on me what that means is somewhere in the state of Kentucky, my mom's got some ashes on her forehead right now.
Oh, yeah, Ash Wednesday. My mom, too. Yeah, you're right. She would go in and come home. We'd all snicker and, hey, Ma, you got something on your head. But, yeah, that's a big thing. So now you go down, because people would show up at work as well. You don't wait until the evening. You have to go in in the morning or something? Is that a nooner? I don't know how that Ash Wednesday thing works.
It's a morning. I think they probably run services all day, but she's a morning gal for sure.
Right. Where do they have an ashtray there full of ashes? Or?
It's just it's not really an ashtray. It's if memory serves, it's like a gold-looking, nice goblet sort of thing, and the priest just dips his thumb in there and busts out the cross on your forehead. I don't know. It's been a while.
Yeah, one of those things. They they still have they still sell ashtrays, like designer ashtrays. Did you know that?
I'm unaware of that, but I'm not surprised. I mean, people still need an ashtray on occasion.
Check this out. A woman in Nashville posted a TikTok after she ordered a $275 Dolce & Gabbana ashtray through Saks Fifth Avenue.
Come on.
No, it's true, but she didn't. That's not what she received.
I got an email from Saks Fifth Avenue, 25% off one item. So I chose a Dolce & Gabbana ashtray, and it got delivered this morning, and I was very, very, very excited. When I opened it, this is what I found. A can of tuna. Albacore tuna. I don't know if someone from the warehouse took it, but this is the most expensive can of tuna I've ever bought.
Well, first of all, the albacore, that's the good stuff. It's not the yellowfin.
Sure.
But, it's good. Yellowtail, I'm sorry. But it's the good stuff. And guess what you have when that can of tuna is empty? An ashtray.
Yeah, exactly. Under normal conditions, it is one of the great bargains you could ever have. I tried to make. I had 1 year of wood shop when I was in 5th grade, and I started to make It was going to be like a thing you hang on your. It looks kind of like a plaque, but it had hooks and it's for belts and ties. And I was going to make it for my dad. And about midway through, I just converted it to an ashtray.
A wooden ashtray.
Yeah, just a wooden, just a couple of big divots in it. And I was like, screw it, it's an ashtray. Here you go, Dad. Thanks for moving me to Kentucky. Take this. Glad you're still smoking Terrytons. Go ahead, fight rather than switch. That's how the Terryton smokers rolled.
The Terringtons, my God.
I'd rather fight than switch. What a great. I mean, we're still talking about all these years later. It was a great ad.
The little fake black eye.
Yeah, tremendous. We're not out of the woods yet. Wait, hold on. Wait. You know what? I was going to mention. Well, this is a real quick thing. We do have a winter weather advisory for some parts of the Twin Cities. A few counties south of the Twin Cities looking at some snow coming in. Just, heads up. But it's a big deal just because we haven't had any. But it's only a few inches, so it's really going to be neither here nor there. This is a fascinating story for Valentine's Day. If you're reading, a lot of the younger generation kids are like anti-Valentine's Day. They're like totally saying like this is ridiculous. The Galentine's Day is something that a lot of people talk about, like you just hang out with your friends. The fake romanticism, the younger generations have no time for it. And it's all about, if you want to have a great Valentine's Day, get yourself some flowers, get yourself some chocolates, get yourself. Well, a stingray in North Carolina has taken this whole thing a little too far. Yes, an actual stingray in an aquarium. Mm-hmm. Her name is Charlotte. She's a stingray in a giant aquarium. She's the only stingray in the aquarium.
All right.
And she's pregnant.
What? Can they do that?
Well, apparently so. This is the Team Echo Aquarium and Shark Lab in Hendersonville, North Carolina. And everyone there is going, what on earth is happening? Now, she shares this aquarium with a couple of white-spotted bamboo sharks, oddly enough named Larry and Mo. And so what the guys there are going, I mean, it's possible there was some interspecies canoodling, but that would be extraordinarily unlikely.
Wait.
They're looking into the possibility and the probability that she impregnated herself.
What?
So,
awesome.
yeah.
No, I want a shark ray. I want to see the first shark ray, man.
She's due any day, and they will do genetic tests on the pups when they come out, and they'll determine whether they are pure stingrays or some sort of stingray shark hybrid. The shark ray, as you said, that'd be kind of awesome.
Yeah, that would be kind of awesome. All right, fingers are crossed. I'm not going to get my hopes up, but I'm definitely hoping for a shark ray. I already have an image in my mind, kind of like Napoleon Dynamite's Liger.
The Liger.
I'm picturing a stingray with a shark fin on its back, and then the big teeth and the... Yeah.
Just a reminder that throughout all areas of the animal kingdom, Valentine's Day, you don't need someone else. You know what I'm saying? hey, Tony, have you got some other Valentine's Day thoughts to share with us?
I do, Stephen. Today, try not to be such a perfectionist. It doesn't always go as planned.
Valentine's Day. Flowers and candy. Sharing your love. Opening your heart. Expressing your feelings. A special dinner. Candlelight. Expensive wine. Overextended. Pull out massive diamond ring. Look of pity means no. Credit card rejected. Forced to wash dishes. Finish hours later. Date long gone. Refuse to give up. Play ukulele outside her door. Self-mutilate. Not appreciated. Labeled obsessive stalker. Ignore restraining order. Psychological evaluation leads to dark cell. Cover body with tattoos of her face. Patiently dig tunnel with crude tools. Escape anxious for another chance. Hide in her house. Try on panties. Leap from closet. Gunned down by new husband. County sheriff. Didn't know. Through missing teeth, purse lips to whisper final words. No one will ever love you like me. But for now, we've got the Valentine supplies to set the table for romance. From huggable stuffed animal friends to clever rhyming cards. Save now at all Walmart stores.
Pretty.
Wow. It's such a slippery slope, romance.
It is.
Hey, just announced, if you missed this week, Motley Crue will be playing the Minnesota State Fair Grandstand Thursday, August 29th. Candace, will you be at the Motley Crue show?
Absolutely. Like I said, I love McMars, and that's going to be, it's not going to be the same, but I'm not going to miss. I've seen Motley Crue 5 times. And it's just, it's just fun. It's just so much fun. And for it to be outside at the grandstand, wow.
Going to be pretty great. You can listen all week. We're going to be playing a little something called Crue or False a little later this week for your shot to win tickets. That's exciting.
That is exciting. Tony, I wonder if you remember this. I'm on the KQ Facebook post talking about weird ways people have met and got together here on Valentine's Day. Married my wife 27 years ago at the Mall of America live on the KQRS morning show. Tony Lee was there.
Mass marriage.
Whoa, wait a minute. What?
Multiple matrimony.
How many you think?
Married, God, I can't remember. It was 1 million. It was at the Rotunda in the Mall of America.
Yeah.
And completely packed. And it was
was this station previously run by Moonies? What the hell are you talking about?
Did one big, massive marriage.
For real.
Yeah.
Not as it wasn't a prank. These were real weddings.
Oh yeah, legit. We had Justice of the Peace. And what was it, 100 couples? Might have even been more. I can't remember.
I've run into a few divorcees over the years, and every once in a while, someone's still together. Pete Traxler, not of the Traxlers, the hunting Traxlers. Pete Traxler, 27 years ago, and they're still going. Actually, he doesn't say they're still going strong. I don't know. I guess I just assumed that because he typed it in the KQRS Facebook post. Well, we'd love to hear that weird way you got together. 651-989-ROCK. And can you live without a spine? That's one of America's top health questions. Hang tight.
It's the KQ Morning Show. 92 KQRS. Zep, Tony, Candace, and Steve Gorman are the KQ Morning Show. 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show. In about 40 minutes, 9:30ish, we're going to be joined on this very show by a young woman who's got a show on Max. That's HBO/Max, whatever you want to call it. It's a 4-part docuseries. Her grandfather very well might be a serial killer. That's quite a little something for an amateur investigator to look into. Hey, did Grandpa kill all those people? Her name is Sierra Barter. She will join us around 9:25, 9:30. That show will be on Max. As I said, 4 episodes. It hits tonight for the first time. So, baby. A lot of true crime out there. That's a new wrinkle. Let's see if my grandfather, my mom's dad, my maternal grandfather died when my mom was a little girl, so I never met him, of course. My paternal grandfather, James Gorman, wouldn't have been an effective serial killer due to the fact that he was blind. So I never had to worry about these things. Just saying, of all the things to wonder about your grandparents, did my grandfather go kill a bunch of people? That's a tough one.
He could have been faking the blindness.
Oh, my God. Hold on a minute. Wait a minute.
Well, let's think about this.
Because we used to play catch, and I just thought he was a genius. Oh, man.
That is a genius move right there, pretending you're blind to get away with the crime. Oh, man. You might want to revisit. It's not hereditary, though, right? Serial killing, we don't hear about that. Not like, one of my grandfathers was an alcoholic. Thank God I dodged that bullet. Right?
Maybe. It's Valentine's Day, so let's stop talking about serial killers for just a moment and focus on the fact. Earlier today, we've had a lot of calls, people sharing their stories on the KQ Talk and Text line, 651-989-ROCK. People telling us how they met their significant other. The KQ Facebook page has a post with a lot of comments from our listeners. Here's a nice one. Darcy said, we met on our church's teen softball league when we were 13 and 14. Started dating a year later, married 10 years later. We're still madly in love. That's nice.
That is nice. I thought maybe he tried to run her over at home plate or something like that. And as they're laying there in a cloud of dust, love struck. But no. All right. That's cool, though.
Well, no, hang on. That could have still happened. She just didn't go into the details.
All right. Yeah. That's what I'd like to think happened.
Yeah, sure.
Or better yet, she mowed him over. And he's like, that's the woman for me.
Could have been. I'm trying to think if I ever played any co-ed sports at any age where I was attracted to. Nope, never happened.
Yeah.
Didn't do it. I didn't have the opportunity. I'm sure it would have. Like I see like young adult, like business professional leagues. People in their late 20s, early 30s playing co-ed softball, and I just think, oh my God, that would have been great. But never had any of those kind of experiences. Maybe I'm just over romanticizing things. But if I'm going to do that, at least today's the day to do it.
Yeah, right. Well, when I was in college, when I tried out college there for a little while, or maybe it tried out me, we jumped onto a co-ed softball league. I was playing football in college, and I was just, young and macho and stupid, full of testosterone, and very annoyed at the women not taking this D-League co-ed softball team seriously. And then fast forward like 15 years later, I'm like, not another co-ed, but my buddies are like, yeah, come on, it's a co-ed league. Well, guess what? The ladies learned how to play softball, and they kicked my ass. So both were not a great experience for me. But no, yeah, co-ed softball. That's a great way to get to know someone, because what do you do afterwards? You go out and you drink beer.
Of course.
You're feeling good, you got some dirt down your pants.
Candace, you were a big, what was your sport?
Why'd you put dirt down your pants?
I don't know why. I was wondering that myself.
I played all sorts of sports, but I never really got far.
Mm-hmm.
But I was on the dance team.
Oh, yeah.
That's a sport.
In high school.
Yeah, absolutely. My daughter was
Can
too.
you high kick, Steve?
There was a time.
I can high kick Steve if I try. I'm going to have to stretch out first.
There was a time when I would have answered, you're damn straight I can. But that time has come and gone. Yeah.
What's the last time you were able to kick your hand? They say that, if you can still kick your hand. I'm so far past that, I know not to even try. It sounds like a hammy injury and a tailbone injury when I fall on my ass.
I can answer that. Hang on. I'm going to Google, why can't I kick my hand? See what I come up with. There's a new term called cyberchondria, and it's when people obsessively Google health stuff like that. Why can't I do this anymore? And a lot of us do it. A whole lot of us do it. The top health questions in all 50 states, according to Google, on a list have been released. I'm just going to get right to, we can talk about Minnesota in a moment, but my favorite one right off the bat, and thankfully it's even in alphabetical order, the great state of Alabama, more than anything, wants to know, hey, how do you get monkeypox? How do you get monkeypox?
Maybe they read that story about the guy bringing in the mummified monkeys to eat. Smuggling them into the
How about
country.
this one first? What is monkeypox? They're not even asking that. They're just saying, how do you get it? In case you're wondering, it's a viral infection which can spread between people and occasionally from the environment to people via things and surfaces that have been touched by the person with the monkeypox. Ooh, baby.
And there is a vaccine.
There is a vaccine. It's I just love the idea that of all places, Alabama. It's like, actually, he said I had the monkeypox, and I was trying to figure out how I come across it.
I keep saying monkeypox on the news. What in the hell?
The other Alabama number 1A on the Google list for cyberchondriacs. Why do I sweat in my sleep? Look at a map. You're in Alabama. It's hot.
Yeah.
Pretty basic stuff. Minnesota, the Minnesotans, there's 5 on the list for the things we Google the most. First, what causes psoriasis? Okay, I mean,
that's pretty. Yeah,
that makes sense. I mean, that's a pretty common one. Is Ozempic safe? Is another one.
Is it safe? You get I think it probably is, because it's the FDA has passed it. It's out there. It's being prescribed. However, you will end up with something called Ozempic butt, and that's what they're finding. People are losing so much weight, and their asses are just going flat. And they don't like that, but that's how it works when you lose that amount of weight in a short period of time. You get Ozempic butt or no butt.
I got a buddy. I only know one person that I know of who's currently taking Ozempic, and he said it works great. I'm nauseous all the time. And I said, is that supposed to be the case? He goes, well, some people, yeah. And I go, well, what do you mean like all the time? He goes, no, I mean like right now. I just want to throw up. I'm like, you mean like literally all the time? He goes, yeah, low-grade nausea. And I'm like, no, thanks.
That's a great time to be overweight. We're not fat shaming anymore.
Yeah.
Come on.
Here's another one from Minnesota. What do shingles look like? Or what does shingles look like? I can tell you because I've had them.
You had shingles?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, poor guy.
Oh, right around the trunk, the midsection, shingles. End of 2001, and I spent a few days thinking it was like a spider bite. I was like, this little red bumps really itch and burn at the same time. It must be a weird spider. And then it just kept growing and growing, and then suddenly I went, oh my God, I think this is shingles. I can tell you this: if you want to strike a match and then just hold it up to your flesh, that's what it feels like.
Oh, yeah, I've heard it's excruciating, but isn't there a vaccine for that? The reason I ask is because every once in a while, Maria, I'm very medically minded. I'm not going to say hypochondriac. I'm going to say medically minded partner. Well, you got to get your vaccine. You don't want shingles. I'm like, yeah. Well, now that you say that, I can't reply with, I'm never going to get shingles because then I'll get it. But but there is a vaccine.
Yeah, you got to. And it's probably a great idea everybody gets it because believe me, shingles is a young man's vibe. You know, there's a certain age where you're like, I can't deal with this, man.
How long did it last?
It was about 2 weeks, and 2 weeks of absolute misery. I was like,
sucks.
But you know, because it wraps. It's a band of nerve. So it's like somebody, you know, like the old Looney Tunes cartoon where the guy would be on stage and a giant like cane handle would come and rip him off the stage.
Sure.
Yeah.
It's like a band. It looks like this. It looked like someone had done that to me because it just goes in a ring around one part of your body, like a straight line from the center of my back around to my chest. And it looked like a scar from something like that. And so, but you can get it anywhere on your body, up or down. And it goes, you know, from the back around to the front, on the left side of the body usually. And so mine was just mid-chest. David Letterman had it, and it was at his eye level. He had it around his eyes.
Oh, Lord.
Really?
And a friend of mine from college had it right around the front office.
Oh, yeah. Oh, really?
Yeah,
All right.
down there in the junk. Oh, I can't imagine.
Guess what I'm Googling? Shingles vaccines near me.
No, there's no overstating how uncomfortable the shingles are. South Dakota, the home state of, not birth state, but the home state of Brian Zepp. Here's a question. Why does my stomach hurt? That's what people are Googling.
I do this stuff. Yeah. I Google dumb stuff. I actually Googled something kind of dumb the other day.
Okay.
I Googled why men forget things. And turns out it's just a trap to feel bad for men because apparently it's something that you can't control.
I guess stay off cosmopolitan.com.
Well, it's because there's scientific research behind this. You have too much testosterone. You can't multitask. It's just so now I'm sorry I even asked.
Well, I'm sorry. What did you Google again?
Why men forget things.
That's fun.
There's tons of research.
All right. I mean, so what is it? So we're just because we're assholes, right?
It's
is that the answer?
There's hormones in the
Oh,
and it's
so it's not our fault.
No, it's not. You have too much testosterone. You can't
Sex on the brain.
multitask. Yeah.
How are we supposed to remember your birthday when we have to be on the guard for woolly mammoths?
Gotta fetch dinner.
That's exactly right.
All right, well, here's one back at you, Candace. In California, they're Googling a health question. Is it bad to sleep with your bra on? Why would you?
Yeah, I haven't worn a bra since 2019.
Sleep. Is it bad to sleep with your bra on? But is it bad? I mean, you wake up with is it a circulation thing?
Probably. And that sounds really uncomfortable and awful.
Irritating.
All right. There's another one from California. Why do I pee when I sneeze?
You shouldn't.
Wow.
Let it out. Let it go. Don't try and hold it in because something's coming out, right? It's going to be a fart or it's going to be a little... some lemon drops, I guess.
Yeah, that'd paint the wall.
Yeah. Oh,
here's one. I can only move my bowels if I have an erect. No, hold on. I don't want to finish that. No, I'm kidding. Sorry, that's for Chauncey. So, Kentucky, I spent a lot of time there. 2 questions. I can answer them both. Why does coffee make you poop? Oh, I mean, we know. It's caffeine. Just gets the blood flow. And here's this one. Can you live without a spine? And the answer is yeah. I mean, I look in the mirror at the face of cowardice every day. So, no, I can you live without a spine? I don't think so. I don't believe. Although there are science fiction movies that would have you believe, yes, the answer is just get your head floating in some sort of gelatinous goo and they can keep you alive.
I did Google it. So without a spinal cord, you could not move any part of your body and your organs could not function. So it's not happening. Yeah, someone just called somebody in Kentucky spineless, and they're like, what are you talking about? I got a spine. Can you live without a spine? That's not, I don't know. I'm just picking on the Hicks down there. But I've got a good buddy in Kentucky as well. I think I can get away with that one. Wisconsin, why is my eye twitching? That's what it's because you drink 4 gallons of beer a day.
I've Googled eye twitch before. I had a little wait, what is happening with that? And I don't remember the answer because it went away, and so I didn't care anymore.
Usually it's sleep deprivation.
Probably.
Is it? Well, that makes
sense. We got a text too. I don't remember this. Maybe you guys do. It said that was already solved. Lisa Loopner's dad was born without a spine. Do you remember that from Saturday Night Live?
Right.
Lisa and Todd.
That's right.
I thought we were going with the local guy. I was like, I'm going to have to backtrack this. But Lisa
That's
Loopner.
great.
Todd.
Speaking of sleep deprivation, the state of Missouri, or Missouri if you prefer, long been a leading contender for most meth labs per person. The question most Googled, how long can you go without sleep? And boy, is that not just perfect.
Yeah.
You still backing up. You hadn't been to sleep since, let me hang on here, 2017, John. Yeah, hey, man, this stuff's good. When it's good, it's good.
Yeah, we're going to find out in Rice, or they're not going to find out in Rice, Minnesota. We had the story earlier. They busted a trailer court there. A couple of guys in a trailer court that had 3 pounds of meth mailed to them. So
that's right.
No staying up late in Rice at the trailer park anytime soon. Can you die from a broken heart in Ohio? Whoa.
Can you die from a broken heart? The answer is yes. In fact, there was a study a few years ago that said a broken heart it's truly a physical malady. And a doctor suggested if you have had your heart broken, like take Advil, aspirin, pain relievers. Truly does help. It's like your body interprets it as physical pain, and you can lessen some of the impact by choking down a fistful of ibuprofen, apparently.
Silly me. I went straight to bourbon.
I'm afraid it's not you, it's me. I can't do this anymore. I've taken the liberty of providing this bottle of Bear aspirin. I still love you. It's just not going to work.
And then duck, because it's coming right back at your head.
Let's see what else. Pennsylvania, is rainwater safe to drink? Not a bad question. Who knows what's going on up there?
I think it probably is. Although some celebrity gal just got into trouble making a snow cone. They're like, you can't eat snow. It's filthy and dirty. I know there's a big backlash. Sorry I even brought it up. No one knows what I'm talking about.
No, we used to do that as kids.
It was recently. Yeah, we did it all the time. Mm-hmm. In fact, I remember going on hunting trips, and we'd make the whiskey snow cones. You'd be there in the old camper with practically no heat and a blizzard outside, and you just reach outside with your glass, scoop up a bunch of snow, and then dump the booze right on top of it.
This one makes perfect sense for anybody who's ever been on a road trip across the state of New Mexico, because the question most asked is, how long can you go without food? Yeah, because anybody in New Mexico knows there's a good chance you're going to run out of gas somewhere, and you're going to be in the middle of nowhere forever. You just drive across that state sometime, and you'll be thinking that too. Do I have another Cliff Bar in the trunk?
Rather barren.
Just to be safe. Yeah, not a lot happening, man. Not a lot happening at all. You can catch up with Steve Gorman and the KQ Morning Show podcast anytime you like, anywhere you get podcasts, anytime you want. That podcast is there for you. This show in podcast form, sponsored by
Devani's. And today at Devani's Pizza and Hot Hoagies, you can get a heart-shaped pizza.
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
Oh, boy.
It's pretty great.
That is exciting. All right, we're going to catch up with Sierra Barter, amateur investigator seeking the truth. A new Max 4-part docuseries, The Truth About Jim. Was her late grandfather a notorious serial killer? Talking with Sierra Barter soon. Hang tight.
Connect with us on the KQ Talk and Text line, 651-989-ROCK. That's 651-989-ROCK. 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show. Happy Valentine's Day, Wednesday, February the 14th. Oh, you want heartwarming? Oh, sure. I got it for you. A dog that went missing from its family friend's Colorado home in 2020 was just found. Almost 4 years on the run. Long story short, a dude brought home a puppy named Patches. He had to move to a new state for a new job, so he had to find a place that allowed dogs. In the interim, he gave his dog to a friend to look after. The dog got out of the fenced-in backyard and split, and for 4 years, the dog was never seen again. They just got a phone call the other day. Oh, yeah, we've got your dog Patches. He's down here in Las Cruces, New Mexico.
That happened.
From Colorado to the Mexican border, 600 miles away. Family reunited. Unicorns, rainbows, confetti, the whole thing. I just take a brief moment and picture your dog gone for 4 years, and you get that phone call. That is pretty spectacular. So, from a really nice, heartwarming story, let's go in the entirely opposite direction. Joining us on the KQ Morning Show right now, Sierra Barter, who is an amateur investigator from California. Sierra, good morning. Thanks for calling in today.
Hi, Steve. Thank you so much for having me.
So we're talking about a new 4-part series on Max called The Truth About Jim. Jim would be your late step-grandfather. And now let me ask you this. Were you an investigator before you took on this case, or was this the first thing you decided to investigate deeply?
This is the first thing I started to investigate. So I had no experience in any of this prior to getting down this rabbit hole. But, it led me on quite a journey, let me tell you.
I didn't want to assume something, but I did figure maybe this was your first case. Now, I don't want to give away too much, but here's the deal. The investigation in The Truth About Jim is looking into whether or not your step-grandfather was, in fact, a serial killer. That's not a lighthearted investigation at all, is it?
No, not at all. It was very, very dark. It was a very difficult time to go through. But, in the end, it's, I think, the right thing to do if you have information that could help people and solve some pain from many, many years ago. You should absolutely do everything you can to do that. So that was always at the heart of my process. And I think that's what really kept me going, was thinking about all of the girls that didn't get the justice they deserved. And if I could solve that, then that would be, I think, really great for their families.
That's very true. I imagine your family had a bit of a roller coaster going through this as well. And has this been something that's, was there always kind of a dark cloud? I don't want to assume too much, but is this something that was always unanswered questions and a little weird? Did people trail off when telling stories about this guy as you were growing up?
Yeah, it was definitely. It was always kind of a taboo topic. Not that everybody didn't want to specifically talk about it, but I think when he was alive, everybody was very afraid to speak up against him. He was a very violent person to the women in my family and some of the men as well. So I think we didn't really want to talk about it. But he died in 2008, and then stories started to trickle out, and I was at that point old enough to sort of understand what it all meant. And I think it was always a suspicion that people had because he was such a violent person in his life. So, he was never sunshine and rainbows, I would say.
Yeah. So this is a man that you remember then. You had a somewhat of a relationship with him as a little kid, I guess.
Yeah, he was, I viewed him as my grandfather until I was about 6 years old. So he was a big part of my life until I was 6. And then at 6, my mom, basically, there was an incident which will appear in the show you'll hear more about, but he did something to her that caused her to say it's not safe for me or my children to be around him anymore. And that was when she basically severed the relationship, and I didn't see him again. And I didn't really Borgman until he passed away. So
wow,
man, what now for this Max series, The Truth About Jim? You got together with true crime director rather, Sky Borgman, who's done Dead Asleep, Girl in the Picture, Sins of Our Mother, some great true crime documentaries. How did you two get together? Did Sky seek you out? Did you go to Sky?
I got linked up pretty early on with a production company called Imagine Documentaries, which is Ron Howard's company. They're a really great production company, and they were like, hey, we can get you in touch potentially with Sky Borgman and a couple other people, and I really was super fond of Sky's work. I think she does a really great job of getting to the root of stories without really re-traumatizing the people, the victims, and the stories. I think she does a really nuanced job of that. So she was immediately interested, and I was like, oh, please, I would love to work with Sky. And it's just been really a great experience. She's a really amazing person, but also obviously a super talented director.
Mm-hmm. We're talking with Sierra Barter on the KQ Morning Show. The new true crime series on Max, it's called The Truth About Jim. That premieres tonight on Max, 8:30 Central, 4-part series. So how much of a true crime fan or aficionado or, observer were you before you decided to dive into this?
I mean, not really, but I wasn't really. But I think growing up in California, you always hear about some pretty famous crimes that happened here in the 60s and 70s. It's kind of something that, you go and oh gosh, somebody did that there, you get spooked and scared. So I always had a kind of a knowledge of these crimes, but, I wasn't really into all of that. I'm always more focused on just wanting people to have truth and justice, and through that I was like, okay, I guess I'm jumping down this rabbit hole, and it really unwound itself, and now I'm involved in all of that, and I think it's a really interesting world for sure. It's a dark space to inhabit, but I think it's a good thing in the end if you can solve some things for people.
Yeah, for sure. So is this the beginning of a new career path? You're going to stay in this lane?
No, I don't know. I think it's really hard for me to do, honestly. I'm very, very sensitive, and it's difficult for me to kind of stomach these things. But I'm certainly open to it. But I'm not super. I'm kind of get spooked easily, and so this show was a lot of me being up at night, very scared. So I don't know.
Oh my gosh.
You must have learned some things about your step-grandfather through this process, even that you didn't know before you started working with Sky Borgman to put this all together. I read at one point you thought your step-grandfather might have been the Zodiac killer. Was that addressed?
Yeah, it's addressed in the show. It's kind of a natural progression from the crimes that we are ultimately really looking into, which is called the Santa Rosa Hitchhike Murders, and they happened in the 70s in Santa Rosa, California, which is kind of in the general vicinity of Zodiac crimes. It's just north of San Francisco. But there's a lot of people online, and originally when the crimes happened, that kind of linked those two together. So it's a natural progression, and then, of course, I saw pictures of Jim in the 60s, and I was like, oh no, it looks a lot like this composite.
Oh my gosh.
It led me down a path, and of course a lot of men had that kind of look at the time, but yeah, it definitely unraveled down that path, which was very, very unsettling for me. So
sure, almost as unsettling as if you'd thought he might have been Ted Cruz. So
yeah, exactly.
Wow. The Truth About Jim, it is on Max. It debuts, is it tonight or tomorrow? What's the first episode? I'm sorry. I'm seeing February 15th. It says on the thing I'm looking at. I thought it was tonight. Or is it tonight? Nope, Thursday, February 15th. There we go.
15th, so Thursday.
Okay, great. Perfect. Sierra, it's a pleasure to chat with you. We wish you all the best. And by the way, I know I'll be watching because this is right up my wife's alley. I will not have a choice, although I would love to watch it anyway, but you can guarantee a viewing from my household at the very least. So all the best with it.
Oh, thank you so much.
You got it. See ya.
Yeah, and I wanted to mention Sky Borgman in there as well because I've watched 3 now of her true crime docuseries.
Oh, no kidding.
And I mean, really, really does a masterful job of sucking you in and just keeping you in place. I like the way she unfolds the story. So these two getting together for this. Ted Mordecai, or Jim Mordecai, rather, this serial killer, should be pretty damn fascinating.
We've been talking all day about the way we met our significant others, current or former. A lot of great stories on the KQ Facebook page. If you're just joining in, you can certainly share your crazy meet story on the Facebook page. If you want to give us a shout, 651-99-ROCK, or shoot a text, talking text lines right there. In the meantime, a lot of couples, you meet in very trepidatious circumstances, like the movie Speed, for example. Towards the end of the movie, when Keanu and Sandy Bullock, they find themselves in out of harm's way, and she does that thing about, they say relationships forged under stress never have a chance, blah, 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 blah. That's one of those things. Check this out. In New England, over the past few days, in Rhode Island, there have been a couple of attacks from a coyote, not a pack of coyotes. A lone coyote has attacked a series of hikers in the state of Rhode Island. And the first attack was a couple out walking together, and a coyote comes up and just goes hard, gets one of them. They go call in the police. They're like, I got attacked by a coyote. And they're like, that's crazy. That doesn't happen. The next day, another man by himself on a hike, again, in Rhode Island, 6 miles away from where the first attack took place, he gets jumped by a lone coyote. It bites him on the leg. This is a 58-year-old man who then holds the animal down and chokes it to death with his bare hands.
Hello.
Oh, Grizzly Adams.
Hi.
What the?
Literally subdued it by pinning it down by its neck, subsequently suffocating the coyote.
Holy crap. Now,
calls it in. They come get him. He's got a leg wound. They test the carcass. Positive for rabies.
Yeah, I was going to say, most likely if it's a lone coyote attacking a much larger prey like a human being, they wouldn't typically do that. So it's probably sick or starving or something like that. But in this case, sick, and he gets the shots out of it. But, dude, you choked out a coyote.
Oh, man.
Sick or not, that's a damn tough story.
That's weird. Isn't it weird for a coyote to attack a human? Isn't
very much so.
Ouch.
Very weird.
He's all sick and rabied out.
That's it.
They go out of their way. They don't want to have anything to do with us. They know what happens most of the time when you get together with a human. That's very.
But see, it begs the question, though, and this is for the men of the show and anyone listening. Would you take the rabies shots that you then have to get, the painful rabies medication, to be able for the rest of your life to tell the story of how I choked out a coyote with my bare hands?
Not only would I do that, but I would turn that pelt into one of those hats that drapes down your back with a cape. And when people look at me and go, what the hell? Oh, this choked it out with my bare hands. Right. I'd give them that look.
You'd make a necklace out of the teeth.
I thought you were going to say I would turn the coyote into a timber wolf, which is where I was going.
That's right. The story would eventually evolve. So I'm out and a grizzly bear comes out of the woods and I get him in a headlock. I'm giving him a noogie. That's pretty badass. We had out west there in Montana some years ago, a snowboarder attacked by an emaciated, sick mountain lion. And he's snowboarding down, and this thing comes out of the trees and leaps on him, takes him out of his snowboard. He somehow comes disconnected from his snowboard. I don't know if he did that amongst the attack, but anyway, he's separated from his snowboard. His legs are free. He gets it in the leg lock. A mountain lion in the leg lock and choked it out and killed it. That's pretty badass. Yeah, right. But it was a sick young cub. And when I say cub, don't think little kitty.
No.
I mean, it was, but it was a smaller one, and it was a little bit sick. But still, you choked out a frickin' mountain lion while you're out snowboarding. Bad to the ass.
I don't have any tattoos, but I'd probably get a full chest piece of me in the leg lock and the mountain lion. I'd just put it on. I'd have the tail of the mountain lion come up my throat, maybe wrap up to one cheek like a sideburn. The other sideburn would be the mountain lion's paw. Oh, I would full on. Maybe my entire face would actually be on my face. I would tattoo the mountain lion's grimace as he knew he had bitten off more than he could chew.
I was once recommended to get the rabies shot because I was bit by a stray cat. I tried to break up a fight between a stray cat and a stray dog.
Oh, no.
And I got bit. And the doctor told me, she's like, you probably should get a rabies, vaccine or whatever test. And I was like, no way. If I get rabies, this will be my legacy. I'll probably make the paper. I'll help, prevention will be easier. That's my story.
Martyr you are. Not only did you try and save these two cats and dogs, but then you're willing to die for rabies prevention or rabies awareness.
Well,
how's that work?
It was just too expensive, to be honest.
How do you try to break that fight up? Did you talk him through it first?
That's enough. Out of you too. I could see you foaming at the mouth.
Yeah, it's not a normal day for me. At least once a week it happens.
I think most people who say, if most people who have a story, I broke up a fight between and you're talking about animals, you only have one of those because you try it once and then you're like, yeah, never mind. I'll just let them. Last dog standing wins. I'm not getting my head in there.
Yeah. Animals are crazy.
Chauncey, not that long ago, Chauncey Gorman scuttled away. A momentary lapse of a gate being left open, and he didn't have a collar on, and he was off in the neighborhood, gone for about 30 minutes. And when he was when we reconvened, he had just come across a guy walking, 2 dogs on leash, and Chauncey ran up, very friendly, happy, and one of the dogs on the leash, after a few moments of happy sniffing, took exception, growled, and they had a quick spat. This is like a dog spat which lasts 3 or 4 seconds. And then they separate, and then they're like, okay, are we done here? And the guy that was walking the dogs was a little shook up, but he recognized everybody was okay. But another woman across the street saw it. She saw it from a distance. And then as I was procuring my dog back and just so angry that he got out of the fence, the woman said, what I saw was horrifying. And I said, excuse me? She goes, your dog attacked a young man and his dogs. It was horrifying. And I just said, okay, thanks. What I thought was, no, if it was horrifying in an actual dog attack, you wouldn't be sitting here judging me. Right. You'd be freaking out and trying to save someone's life. What you saw was dogs just showing up. They're just showing each other who's tough for 2 seconds and backing it up. The judgment in this woman's face, and then someone else walks by literally like, you shouldn't have your dog off a leash. I'm like, yeah, the dude left my back gate open. You think I'm just letting my dog run loose? This is not the 70s.
You said what's horrifying is your outfit. Please.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah, that's when you wish Chauncey would just attack them.
Yeah, no, lady, if you want to see horrifying, we can make it happen. I can get him really wound up. Give me a second. The judgment was so annoying to me. Oh, stop. Tell me you know nothing about dogs.
The city people, they're all so tender and precious. I'm jogging down. I was living in South Minneapolis, jogging down one of the streets, and a car hits a little rabbit, a little cottontail rabbit. And I'm going by, and the car hits it, keeps going. And as I jog past it, it's flopping around. And I keep jogging, and I take a couple of steps, and I'm like, oh, man, here comes the old farm kid in me. I don't want it to suffer, so I go back, and I grab the thing, and I whack its head against the tree. It comes from years of experience. One whack, boom, dead immediately, put out of its misery, and I kind of toss it there on the boulevard, and I look up, and I see a lady standing on her townhome porch who's just only witnessed, I believe, me killing a rabbit, not it getting hit by a car, and I took a step in her direction with my hands out like, no, what happened was, and she goes, get away from me, stay away from me, and she goes inside and kind of falls down and pulls her door shut and called the police on me.
Well, you could have tried mouth-to-mouth and CPR first.
Well, I don't think she wasn't that good looking. Besides, she'd already closed her door. Oh, wait, are you talking about the rabbit? But yeah, I'm like 2 blocks down, the police pull up, and we got to call a lady. I'm like, I explained what happened. He goes, all right, sorry to bother you. I'll let you go. But yeah, come on, man.
Local man gets rabbit's pulse back. Paralyzed for life, but glad to be alive.
That was like my buddy Webby. He's a city kid. I love him to death. Also in South Minneapolis, hits a squirrel flopping around back there, and he stops the car and he goes, "Oh my God, what do we do?" I said, well, we could keep driving would be one way to handle this. He's like,
right.
"No, do we get it to a vet? I'm like, if you get out and try and take that damn squirrel to a vet, dude, I'm going to drive off and just leave you here with it. Knock it off. It's life. It's the circle. It's a squirrel in town, you know? Get up a tree. Stay out of the streets. But, yeah, folks.
Was the squirrel wearing a collar with hearts on it?
I think it was. It looked a lot like a poodle, but we determined it was a squirrel instead and got the hell out of there. No, I'm kidding. Of course.
We wish everyone a wonderfully happy Valentine's Day. Whatever that day means to you, we certainly hope everybody has a great day. Thanks for all the phone calls, a lot of posts today. This is a pretty fun show, and what would it be without a history lesson? Let's look back. Whoo, baby. On this day in 2002, Rulon Gardner made the headlines. Now, he was already kind of famous because in the summer of 2000, Rulon Gardner from Wyoming was the men's heavyweight gold medalist for wrestling at the Olympics. A big farm kid from Wyoming, and he beat a big Russian dude who hadn't lost for 13 years. Huge accomplishment. 4 years later, Rulon Gardner won a bronze medal at the 2004 Games. But right in between, my man in 2002 on Valentine's Day was snowmobiling with some friends out in Star Valley, Wyoming, up in the mountains surrounding that valley. And at one point, he got separated from his friends. By the time he noticed he was separated, they couldn't find him. Long gone. He was a little panicked. He was like, hang on, I'm just gonna take my time here. Keeps a cool head. But eventually falls into the freezing salt river on his snowmobile, goes into the river with his snowmobile. He gets out of the river. He's unable to move any further. He builds a shelter and waits for 18 hours. He's stranded before he's found. At some point in his makeshift shelter, my man stopped shivering, which led him to believe quite appropriately he was probably close to death, because when you have hypothermia, after a certain point, you stop shivering and you feel kind of warm and then you die. They found him, though. They needed to use a saw to remove the boots from his feet. He was so frozen and swollen. The middle toe on his right foot was lost to this experience.
That's not so bad.
2 years later, he won bronze in the Olympics again. But he was just getting started, because a few years later in 2007, he and two buddies were flying a light aircraft and crashed it into a lake in Utah, Lake Powell. The water was 44 degrees Fahrenheit. Ooh. They went down in the water and they swam to shore, which took over an hour. Then they spent the night without shelter.
I mean, you're not in a life suit. 44-degree water, that's Bering Strait
cold.
stuff.
It's so cold.
That's one tough son of a bitch. Tell me now that he choked a coyote and they ate it for dinner.
Choked a coyote, ate it for dinner, and he's, as we speak right now, he's looking for his next challenge. So, now, Rulon Gardner, he's still somehow with us. That is one tough sumbitch right there.
Get the KQ Morning Show podcast wherever you listen. 92 KQRS.